Yeah, how about Shemaya with Shai? Right, it's beautiful that the Most High brought us together on another mighty Shabbat. He gave us another day to pray, another day to repent, and do the first works. Right, today's Sabbath lesson is diverse occupations. God Bible. All right. Hey, this Bible is so in depth, it's so deep, so many layers. You know, we'll be going off not to touch on the occupations in the scriptures. That's right. Again, this is your culture, right? Yes, you have laws, statutes, commandments. You read about mighty accounts, but you also read about what our forefathers actually did, and what we do to this very day. Right. Right. Similarly to our forefathers, because there's nothing new under the sun. God. And the occupations are endless. Don't just think everybody was a farmer and everybody just did architecture. It didn't stop there. Or fishermen. You know, you have debt collectors. You know, you have tent makers. And the list is endless of how many occupations there were. Right? Through the Spirit of the Most High, through the Spirit of Yahweh Shai, that is, we're going to go through as many precepts as we can, touching on different occupations. Because the Lord loves the laboring man. The Lord doesn't like somebody just sitting in the house, twiddling his thumbs in his mother's basement, right, eating Fritos with one sock on and one sock off, talking to Tanika. Bring us Iraq. 7 to 15 King. Sure.
It's Iraq. Chapter 7. And verse 15.
God.
Book of Sirach, chapter 7, verse 15. Hate not laborious work, neither husbandry, which the Most High hath ordained.
Can we go with the word husbandry? Right? You're not supposed to hate laborers' work. You weren't put on this earth to despise working in a field and working for your family and working for the Heavenly Father. The Lord doesn't like a slothful man, which is why he said, go to the ant house sluggard and consider her ways. Even nature itself will tell you that you have to be in motion, that you have to be moving, that you have to provide something to the table, whether it be for your family, a congregation, or really chiefly for the Heavenly Father. So this is the word husbandry. The care, cultivation, breeding of crops and animals. Crop husbandry, right? Farming, agriculture, agronomy, right? Conservation. And we read about Adam, right? Can you pull that out in Genesis? Where Adam, he tilled the land. And that doesn't mean that wasn't strictly just farming. And he ruled the world. He had to make sure everything was in order. You think he had Eve just doing whatever she wanted to do? No, he had her in order. You know, he named her after all. Is that Genesis? Yeah, third.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 3. We start at verse. Start at verse 17.
Yeah, you start there.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, and verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life.
All right, so you're going to have to work twice as hard. You're going to have to do a lot of labor, right? You know, it wasn't as easy as it came, and you know, in the very beginning. Things kind of just happened, you know, for lack of better words. It was, 2 and 5.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2 and verse 5. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Lord had not caused it to wane upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground.
Right, nobody really tilled it like that because, you know, the fruit and vegetation just came naturally due to the moisture on the earth, right, especially in the morning. That morning dew was 10 times better than it was to this very day.
And you go drop down to verse 15 to get to a point. And the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it.
Right, now he had to dress it and to keep it. Right, it's not talking about he put fringes upon it. And he made sure everything was comely. And agriculture isn't an easy thing, right? You can't just wake up and say, I'm going to be a farmer. You have to really know how to crop things and how to till the land, make sure the ox is, you know, doing what it needs to do, right? Even when let's say you want to farm, you know, you got to do it a little bit different every year. If you want a little vegetable garden, you got to be a little different every year. You can't just sow everything the same way forever.
It's not predictable as well.
Exactly. That's why I say this, Ecclesiastes 11:6 by for sure. But nevertheless, you know, though it may be unpredictable, you still got to put your hand to the plow, despite the outcome. You got it.
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, verse 6.
Hey, and you have faith that things are going to work out when it comes to laboring and putting your hand to the plow. Right? You have faith, you know, you're going to be working for a certain purpose. Go ahead.
Right.
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, verse 6. In the morning, sow thy seed.
What is that?
In the morning, sow thy
You
seed.
sow your seed even in the morning. Go as soon as you wake up. Everybody wake up, you do your work. Go ahead.
And in the evening, withhold not thy hand.
And don't hold your hand back from the plow and say, I don't know, the weather a little shaky. I'll wait until next week. Oh, when you have the opportunity and when it's fit, you do it. You accomplish it. Go ahead.
It says, for thou knowest not whether shall prosper either this or that, or whether they both shall be alike good.
Because you have no idea what's going to happen. But that's not going to stop you. That shouldn't nullify anything. Can you hold that and bring out one more, 2 Ezra chapter 8, verse 40?
Book of 2 Ezra, chapter 8, right, and verse 40 reads, it says, like as I have spoken now, so shall it come to pass. For as the husbandman soweth much seed upon the ground.
Right? And these parables that we read in the Bible is always mentioning a husband or a fisherman. Right? Because this is something that Israel can relate to.
God.
Because this filled up a lot of the jobs. Go ahead.
That's right.
It says, for as the husband soweth much seed upon the ground and planted many trees, and yet the thing that is sown good in his season cometh not up, neither do all that is planted take root, even so is it of them that are sown in the world, they shall not all be saved.
Right. Although this is a parable spiritually representing Israel, we still understand on a carnal level what he's saying. He's painting a picture that, hey, you can sow all day, it's still not going to take root. Despite it having a plenteous amount of sun and water, it still won't grow and prosper.
Right.
Likewise with certain men when we tell them the truth. And that's okay. That happens. So, you know, even when you're working at your job, your so-called career, things are going to fall flat. So you might run into a dead end.
Yeah.
That doesn't stop you from continuing doing the work. One more, and there's more?
No, I had appreciate it.
I have one more Ecclesiastes 11:6. I'm pass it after this.
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, verse 6.
You start from the top again.
It says, in the morning sow thy seed, and in the evening withhold not thy hand.
Right, and that's why Yahweh said, hey, if you can't understand this parable, you're not going to understand anything. Right? Because that's the principle of parable. The sower and the seed, that is.
Right.
You continue.
It says, for thou knowest not whether shall prosper either this or that, or whether they both shall be alike good.
Go ahead.
Truly the light is sweet, and a pleasant thing is it for the eyes to behold the sun. But if a man live many years and rejoice in them all, yet let him remember the days of darkness, for they shall be many. All that cometh is vanity.
All right. So, you know, remember the days of darkness to keep you humble. All right. So you didn't get puffed up in your works.
That's right. Hey, because a lot of our forefathers, they were rich, man. Right? They were business owners. Right? They dealt with the irrigation. Right? The fertile land. Right? So a lot of our forefathers was rich. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 28, start at verse 1. Right?
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 1.
Bring it out.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
Right, so if the Israelites listened to the Lord, if they kept the commandments of the Father, read on.
to observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Right, so if we kept the commandments, the Lord would have set us high above all the nations of the earth. Right now we low, right? The strangers are over us. They're ruling over us, as it states in Deuteronomy 28 and 43. Right now they come into your community, they set up businesses, they oppress your people, they sell you poison, and they get rich off the backs and the blood, sweat, and tears of the Israelites. Keep reading.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee,
Right?
if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city.
The Lord said we would have been blessed in the city. Right? When we were in our homeland, we were blessed in the city. We had storefronts, right? Storehouses, right? And we dealt with trade, right? And we were prosperous as a nation of people. Keep reading.
It says, and blessed shalt thou be in the field.
Right? Read
Blessed
on.
shalt thou be. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground.
And the what?
And the fruit of thy
It
ground.
say, and the fruit of thy ground. Right? Because ultimately, blessings come from Yahweh Shem Yahushua. right? Because the Lord can curse your ground. The Lord can curse your irrigation. The Lord can curse your vegetation and bring a drought within your land, right? And if he does that, you're not going to make any profit, right? Read on.
And the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
And the what?
And the flocks of thy sheep.
And the flocks of thy sheep. So a lot of our forefathers, they dealt with herds, man. They dealt with flocks and sheep. Give me Sirach chapter 22 and verse 1.
Book of Sirach, chapter 22, and verse 1.
Right?
Reads, a slothful man is compared to a filthy stone.
Right, so when you're a herdsman, you can't be slothful, man. Right, because if you be slothful, hey, man, your cattle is going to suffer. Right, they don't get sheared at the right time. Right, they're starving. They haven't been fed in weeks. Right, and that falls on you. Give me Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 10.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 12.
Right, just
And
imagine that falls on you because that's your responsibility. Like your children are your responsibility. You have to feed your child. Right, you have to change diapers sometimes. Right, you have to make sure your child is properly nourished. Right, on a physical level, but also on a spiritual level. Likewise with your cattle, you have to make sure they're fed. Right, you have to make sure they're eating, make sure they're getting their rest. You have to make sure they're properly dealt with. Okay, read on.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 10.
Right.
A righteous man regardeth the life of his beast.
Right, so as a righteous man, you have to regard the life of your beast. Right, you can't just wake up one morning and say, look, I want to be a herdman. Let me go get some goat and some sheep and just wing it. No, man, because that blood can be on your hands. Read on.
It says, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel.
But the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. Right, so a lot of our forefathers, they were herdmen. Right, give me Genesis chapter 3, verse 19.
Book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 19.
Right, and guess what? You have righteous occupation, and you also have wicked occupation. Right, like selling drugs, that's a wicked left-handed occupation. Right, but you got physicians on the right-hand side. Right, that may have sold herbs in the ancient world to heal man. That's spoken about in Sirach, I believe the 33rd chapter. Right, if I'm not mistaken. But bring this out, Genesis 3:19.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 19. In the sweat of thy face.
In the sweat of thy face. Right, now this is the curse of man. Due to man eating of that philosophy. Right, so now man has to suffer. Man has to work all the days of his life. So it's saying the sweat of thy face. Right now, modern day jobs we have, we work at the damn Amazon, right? We work at Home Depot, Lowe's. We're slaves now. So with the sweat of thy face, read on.
Till in the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return into the ground. For out of it thou was taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return.
Now give me Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 23.
Diligent.
What the Lord say?
Be thou diligent.
You have to be diligent. Look up that word diligent for me, Baba Kasha. Right? It don't say be slothful. It don't say, oh man, my bad, I forgot. Right? You can't forget when you're a herdman, man. You have to be on it. You have to be responsible. I forgot to feed the flock.
Lord willing, I do it.
Oh yeah, I might do it next week. I gotta feed these sheep next week. Right? Well, hold on now. Now your sheep, they flesh cleaving to their bones, they coughing. Right? Because your animals can get sick as well. Don't think man just gets sick. No, animals get sick as well. Right? They suffer infirmities. They get diseases. They might get ticks on them. Right? So you have to make sure your flock is properly cared for. Right? You got that definition?
Yes,
Right? It's a diligent, having or showing care and consciousness in one's work or duties. Industrious, hard working, particular. So you have to be hard working when you're dealing with your flock, man. Right? That's on the physical level and also on the spiritual level. Right? We're feeding the flock right now through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shah. You have to be attentive. What did I say? Committed, studious,
Zealous.
constant.
Dedicated.
Right? Give me Proverbs chapter 15, verse 28, because it says studious. I mean, you can't just wake up one morning and say, yeah, I'm going to buy a whole bunch of cattle and herds, and I'm going to just wing it. I don't know nothing about husbandry. I don't know nothing about being a herdman, but I'm going to just wing it, and Lord willing, the Most High bless me. Right? No, you have to have faith and works behind these different things. You have to study, man. Right? Our forefathers was learned men. Our forefathers didn't know they weren't men that didn't know they left from their right. They wasn't tripping up. Right? They wasn't hitting their head on stuff and jammed up and trying to put in their pants up and they wasn't doing all that, man. These was learned, studious men. Give me Proverbs 15:28.
Book of Proverbs chapter 15, verse 28. The heart of the righteous.
Real quick, Salaki, our forefathers wasn't cavemen like the so-called white man.
That's right.
Right? Bring this up, brother.
Book of Proverbs chapter 15, verse 28. The heart of the righteous studieth to answer.
They said if you're a righteous man, you're going to study to find the answers. Right? Read on.
But the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things.
But the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. Right? So you have to study, you have to get into it, and you have to learn these different matters. Now give me 1 Samuel chapter 25, verse 4.
Book of 1 Samuel chapter 25, verse 4 reads.
Right.
It says, and David heard in the wilderness that Nabal did shear his sheep.
Then the boy did what?
Shear his sheep.
Right, and the boy was a rich man. He had sheep, he had cattle, he had lots of food, right? Even though he was a nigger, he was a niggar, he was selfish, he didn't want to share that wealth that he had, right? And that's another way you can't be in this thing. You can't have all this wealth and this money, but you don't want to share it to the flock, right? You don't want to spread that wealth, right? Because the Lord can take it from you, man. The same way he gave it to you, he can snatch it away from you, right? But it's saying the boy did shear his sheep. Look up that sheep shearer.
That's what happens if you don't share your sheep.
Look at that. Just imagine that in your yard, man.
That's uncomfortable for the cattle too.
Look, it's heavy.
That's heavy.
It gonna be yeah, that get a lot of bugs,
100 pounds.
ticks, damn flies, fleas, all hell breaking loose, man.
Say not sure for 5 years.
And that's all. Whoever owned that cattle is a wicked man, man.
Right.
He wasn't responsible. He wasn't studious. He didn't care for the flock. So that's what happens when you don't shear your sheep, meaning to pull it, to cut it. We're going to look it up.
Sheep shearer.
Yeah, it's like a sheep shearer.
It's probably internet
Right. Right, because that's also a profession, the sheep shearer.
right here. Sheep shearing.
Yeah, be sure you can't hit the ear.
You got it. Okay, so sheep shearing is the process by which the woolly fleece of a sheep is cut off. The person who removes the sheep wool is called a shearer. So this was actually an occupation in the ancient world, to be a sheep shearer. Right?
I put up a sheep shearing.
So pretty much they're cutting off the wool of this sheep.
You need something video on it too.
It's the person who removes the sheep's wool is called a shearer. Typically, each adult sheep is shorn once each year. A sheep may be said to have been shorn or sheared depending upon dialect. The annual shearing most often occurs in a shearing shed, a facility especially designed to process often hundreds and sometimes more than 3,000 sheep per day. Right, so that was hard work right there, man. You're shearing all day, you're sweating, right? You might got to deal with bugs and ticks and fleas. You got to deal with all these different elements, right? So this was an occupation. Say it again, brother.
I say, being a herdsman not easy.
Yes, it's hard work.
It's not just you got sheep in the back and that's it. So you gotta feed them.
All that, like you said.
You got a point? I got one.
Yeah, when you read in 1 Samuel chapter 25, it said that Nabal had 1,000 goats and 3,000 sheep. So you can only imagine how much work that is for the shearers. Like you said, it's not a light job.
Yeah, and the boy had workers. You know, he was a rich man,
Yes.
right? Give me Amos chapter 7 and verse 14. So Nabal was prosperous, you understand? Even though he was a niggar, but he had much wealth and wisdom when it came to things like that. Right? When it came to getting money and financial gain. And you'll meet Jake like that. He might be a bona fide nigga, but he got a lot of money, man. Right? His pockets down busting out, man. And he can tell you about all the in-depth details of wickedness and how to make money. Right? But he can't give you one commandment in the Bible. Right? And bring this up.
Book of Amos, chapter 7, verse 7 and 14. It says, Then answered Amos and said to Amaziah, I was no prophet, neither was I a prophet's son, but I was a herdman.
I was a what?
I was a herdman.
So Amos was a herdman, right? This is a prophet of the Lord. He was a herdman, man.
Right.
Right? So, the prophets, they come from different walks of life. Right? Brothers may have been herdmen in the ancient world. Right? Brothers may have had left-handed occupations, wickedness. Right? But nonetheless, they come from different parts of the world, man, in different occupations. right? Say it again, brother.
Is it Tanners?
Tanners, right? And we're going to go into that as well, right? So again, Amos was a herder. Keep reading.
And a gatherer of sycamore fruit.
And a gatherer of sycamore fruit. All right, look up sycamore fruit. All right, you got it.
And the Lord took me as I followed the flock.
Hey, he said, the Lord took me as I followed the flock. Read on.
And and the Lord said unto me, go prophesy unto my people Israel.
Right? And that reminds me of, I believe, Mark chapter 1, verse 16. Right? Because a lot of the apostles, the disciples, they were fishers, man. And the Lord took them from that occupation and made them fishers of men. Right? So brothers may have had businesses or some kind of occupation in the world, but to follow the Lord, you had to forsake that. Right? Brothers may have been damn tattoo artists, tax collectors, what else? It's a lot of different occupations, man. Brothers may have been, I don't know, man.
Governors.
It's a lot of different things.
You get governor.
Hey, a governor, a
Firefighter.
politician, a firefighter, a policeman, right? Officer. They had officers in the ancient world. That's in Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 15.
Yeah, priest.
You had lawyers,
Priest was like an occupation.
an armor bearer.
A priest like an occupation.
That is how.
Yeah, that is a priest, right? We're going to go into that as well, most high willing.
Preacher?
Keep reading.
What precept is that?
Oh, bishop.
For
That should read it right now.
that was the Amos first. Amos
Amos
7,
chapter
14
7,
through 15.
Yeah.
Amos 7, 14 through 15.
It said, and a gatherer of sycamore fruit. Right? So this is a sycamore fruit.
Yeah,
You understand?
That don't look easy to gather, man.
Yeah, you got to kind of get up there, man.
You know, climb trees.
What is that? What is that?
You got to kind of get up there.
And in the tree, man.
Fuck that, tell you.
Right? So, hey, that's an occupation. You got to kind of gather the sycamore fruit.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It wasn't
Sure
just,
did do that.
oh, let me go to the grocery
Exactly.
store.
Yeah. In the book of Luke, he did that.
Let me go to the farmer's market, Eastern market.
Yeah.
No, man. You had to actually work to get your food. And that goes back to, I believe, 2 Thessalonians 3 and 10. If any man should not work, they should not eat.
That's the precept I wanted to pull.
I got a quick
It's
comment.
9 and 8.
It was the point.
We got it easy.
You got it.
I just want to make a quick point. Say in Numbers 13 and 23, it was 2 men bearing the grapes.
Right.
So that show you that it was big fruit too.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, hey, sycamore fruit, could have been, a lot,
What's that
more
precept?
humongous back then in the
Bring
ancient
that
world.
precept out.
That's Numbers 13 and 23.
Bring it up.
In the
So-
book of Numbers.
Yep, bring it out.
Oh, Numbers 13 and 23.
Mhm.
And they came into the brook of Eshcol and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes. And they bare it between two upon the staff. And they brought up the pomegranates into the fields.
Right, so these men had to bear a cluster of grapes, man.
Look up a cluster, it's big, man.
Hey, it's not, you see a grape now, you can carry it with your pinky, right? You can kind of carry it with your pinky, and you kind of, right, you're throwing the grape up and catching it, In the ancient world, things weren't like that, man. So you have to be realistic, man. We actually had to work to eat. Let me get that real quick in 2 Thessalonians 3 and 10. Right, so we going into these different occupations, work,
It's 3 and 8.
husbandry. The Lord said, hate not laborers work, man. So a lot of this stuff is laborers. Yeah, you're not going to want to do it when you wake up in the morning, but you have to if you want to eat and feed your family.
That is right.
Right? 2 Thessalonians 3 and 10.
You want 3 and 8. I believe it started at 8.
Look at 2 Thessalonians,
Hold that priest.
chapter 3, right?
You start at verse 8. That's
Verse 10. This is the book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 3 and verse 10. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you.
this we what?
This we commanded you.
Hold on now. This we commanded you. So this is a commandment. But then, brother, I don't see it in the law, brother. I don't see that. Well, hold on. It say this we commanded you.
Where you want me to start at, sir?
Right? Keep reading.
2 Thessalonians 3 and 7, actually. For yourselves know how ye ought to follow us. For we behave not ourselves disorderly among you. Neither did we eat any man's bread for naught.
Right? You can't just be going over men's house, eating their bread for naught, living off other men. Right? Our forefathers, they're moving in that spirit. Right? They had to provide for themselves, for their families, for their wives. Because our forefathers had wives and lots of children. Right? So they couldn't just sit around and sleep all day. Right? They household would definitely be overthrown, man, if they did that. If they just slept in the bed all day. right? And you go deal with it, woman, right? Now your household is overthrown, your children out of order, your sheep is overgrown, there's ticks on it, everything is out of order, man. Right? So our forefathers had to get up and work. Keep reading, brother.
And that was considered acting disorderly.
Yeah.
It says, but wrought with labor and travail, night and day.
Night and day. Right? So brothers got night shifts. Right? Brothers got day shifts. They got to work. It's like you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they don't get off till 5 o'clock in the evening.
Graveyard shifts.
Right? Keep reading.
It says that we might not be chargeable to any of you, not because we have not power, but to make ourselves an example unto you to follow us.
And you got to make yourself an example. Right? Hey, brothers, I heard a brother say that, man. Yeah, you know, I 12-hour shifts. I gotta be an example to the flock, man. I gotta work, man. Some brothers work 14 hours.
Our brother says he did 24.
Damn. Oh,
They had us
see
in
that?
the army.
24 hours.
24 hours.
There's no excuse, man.
I met a Jake. He said he was a firefighter. And I was hooking up his TV. He said he did
24 hours. Monday and Tuesday.
That's the whole week though.
Yeah, the rest of the week he got it, but you know.
I believe
but
they
still,
sleep at the fire station. If I'm not mistaken, they sleep at
They
the
on
fire
call
station.
24.
They on call 24.
They had me on.
Hey, a maintenance man, he's on call a lot of the times, man. Right? So he gotta kind of get up, right? Somebody got a damn something going on with their toilet. He gotta kind of get up. The
For the
toilet.
whole building.
Let me go. Hey, because if you don't do that, if you don't attend to that toilet, hey, the whole building can be flooded, like the brother said, man. Or hell can break loose. So they depending on you to take care of that job. Right? Got a point?
More on
They had us, when I first started my job, they had us on 12 hours, 7 days. When I was in the world, though.
Yeah.
I ain't
Yeah.
slavery.
Right? And that's wicked, right? When you deal with Exodus chapter 20 and verse 8, you got to rest on that 7th day. That's what our forefathers did. So it wasn't just damn working, slavering every single last day. No, you had that Sabbath day, right? And Jake was looking forward to that Sabbath day, man. Right? Now Jake, he just want to work. He just want to put in overtime. He want to be a slave to the so-called white man. Right? Our forefathers, when that Sabbath day came in, it was all relaxing. Right? They might, go to the synagogue, chill, hear the word of the Lord, and things of that nature. Kick it. You got it, brother.
It says, for even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat.
Right? If you don't work, you're not going to eat. You're going to starve. You're going to be destitute. Right? Give me Sirach chapter 29, verse 21. I'm going to pass it.
A little more. You said Sirach what?
29, 21.
God, it was a little wrong with that song too. It says, for we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies.
Hey, busybodies. You and everybody else's household. Right? Trying to find some food in the refrigerator. Right? Your brother kind of go in your house and it's trying to see what's in your refrigerator, man. And say, what's this? Where you get it from? Right? And then he kind of, let me taste it. I don't know. Let me taste it again. Right?
This nasty spirit. Do you want it?
Yeah, it's bad. You sure you want this? Yeah, you got brothers like that in the truth, man. Right? So if you don't got a job and you got to strive to get a job, man. And it's 1,000 jobs out here. I don't want to hear Jake say, brother, it's no jobs, brother. It's no jobs. Hey, man, damn, McDonald's always hiring. Right? Damn, Burger King, Amazon. Right? And it might be a nasty profession, right? Hey, swine feeding was a nasty profession in the ancient world. But guess what? Men still did it. Right? Tanner, right? Hey, so these things were nasty professions, but guess what? Men had to do it, man. Men of the Lord had to do it, man.
You gotta deal with it.
We got to deal with it, right? So give me that Sirach 29, 21. I'm going to pass it.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 29, verse 21.
Right?
The chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and an house to cover shame.
It say water, bread, clothing, and a house to cover shame. Right? Because imagine you got water, bread, and clothing, but you don't got no damn house, man. Right? You kind of living on the street. Right? That's bad. Or you're living out your car. Right? A lot of them live out their car in Los Angeles. On Skid Row, they living in their cars, they building damn houses on the street, man.
Tents.
Right? Tents. Apartment tents. Right? I seen that Jake, he built an apartment tent. Right? And they was like, he's like, oh man, this is so creative. I'm just looking like, man, that's bad, man. You gotta build an apartment tent. Right? So, real quick. So the point is, man, you have to have these different things in order to provide for yourself and your family. You got it, brother.
And then it's funny that the scriptures say that because usually when Jake growing up, their mama or their father say, I put a roof over your head, clothes on your back, and food in your mouth.
Yeah.
That what our people say, man.
Yeah. And that's the spirit they say that, man.
Yeah.
Right? Because they know that's really all you need.
Yeah.
You don't need Jordans. You don't need designer shoes, and you got the designer belt, and you got all these different things, and the PS5, and Xbox, and this, and that, and all the games and toys. You don't need that, man. It's not going to kill you not to have that. Right? As long as you got that bread, that water, that clothing, and a house that's covered shame, you have nothing to complain about. Right? You got it.
Right. Sirach 40, verse number 28.
The book of Sirach chapter 40. Sirach chapter 40 and verse 28.
Right?
My son, lead not a beggar life.
Right. The Lord said don't lead a beggar's life, man. Just begging for money, man. Non-stop. Can you help feed my family? How does that look, man? You kind of, hey, bro, I need help to, can you help me feed my family every damn
Brother,
2 weeks,
Can you
man?
give me $30? I need to buy my woman something.
Yeah, come on, man. What kind of a man does that? Just lives a beggar's life, right? Can you read it?
It says, for better it is to die.
What the Lord say?
Better it is to die
Hey, it's better to die, read,
than to beg.
than to beg, man. Cause hey, you want to know what a occupation was in the ancient world? Selling yourself as a slave, man. And they actually sell themselves as a servant, and they'll work for 7 years, man, and get released without money on that 7th year, unless somebody came and bought them out of that servitude. Right? Get Luke chapter 15 and 13.
Book of Luke, chapter 15, verse 13. Weeds.
Right, so you can't just go out begging, man. Now, of course, your brother fall on, you can get some help here and there, but begging, you know the difference between getting help and begging, man. Right, somebody hit you up every damn 5 days, man, asking you for something.
Yeah,
right?
He's not trying to change his situation. He's content with asking you for money and living off your wealth.
Right, matter of fact, keep reading that Sirach real fast, then we go get that.
Verse 29. The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life.
Dang. See that? He said, if you depended on another man's table, he said that's not counted for a life, man.
Dang.
Right, keep reading.
For he polluteth himself with other men's meat.
You see
But
that?
a wise man, well nurtured, will beware thereof.
You see that? So the Lord's not dealing with that spirit, man.
There's more on there. Verse
Right.
30. Begging is sweet in the mouth of the shameless.
Right, you gotta be a shameless man to beg, man. You gotta be shameless, man. Any real man goes, I gotta make something happen, man. You go through every avenue before you just beg, man.
That's a man coming in the spirit of a woman. Right?
Yeah, just that
Got their hand
spirit,
out.
man. That
I need this, I
spirit.
need that. Can you give me $20? I gotta buy some cookies.
That spirit.
It said,
Come on, man. Imagine you got a brother, he asks you for money every time you see him, man.
Yeah, and you will get offended at that, man. Like, hold on, brother. You ain't asking me how I'm doing, brother. You didn't ask about my family. You just want to see what's in my pockets, man. That's damn near robbery.
That's like that dude on Everybody Hate Chris. Let me get $1.
Right. Hey, look man across the street. Let me on the dot. That spirit,
That's
man.
that bruh man spirit off Martin, man. That climbing through your window, making a sandwich. Right?
I knew you got that.
That's wicked, man.
It say, but in his belly there shall burn a fire.
You see that? Shall burn a fire. And what's that other precept called?
Luke 15 and 13.
All right,
15
come.
and 13.
Bring it up.
It's the book of Luke, chapter 15 and verse 13.
Right?
And not many days after the youngest son gathered all together
Right?
and took his journey to a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living.
Right, so the man, he wasted his substance with riotous living. He partied all his money away. He went broke. Right? Keep reading.
And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want.
Right, so it was a famine. He was broke now. Right, now he's starving. He don't know what's going on. Right, keep reading.
And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country.
Right, he joined himself to a citizen of that country. What does that mean? He basically became a servant to another man, right? So basically, he's sold himself as a servant, right? Can you read it?
And he sent him into his fields to feed swine.
To do what?
Feed swine.
Right, so he sent him to feed swine, right? That servant's job. But nonetheless, instead of him begging for money, he joined himself to. He said, "Can I, live with you for a little bit? I need some help. I do, whatever you need me to do." He fed the swine.
That's actually more commendable than a man who just begging for money.
Exactly.
Right? You want a man to come, well, brother, I don't got no money, brother, can I work for you? Because you might got a business, right? You might got a business, you need some help, and you ask the brother, look, brother, can I work for you?
That's
Right. You say, well,
Ain't nothing wrong with
I need somebody to clean the toilets, man. Like, can you help out? And the brother said, yeah, I got you, man. That's more commendable than holding your hand up, right?
Like a child, man.
Right. So the
That's
man
what
was.
my daughter do, man. She hold her hand out, right? And I give her a cookie, man. Right? Or a muffin. Right? I can't do that to a grown man. Right? Holding his hand out.
Like,
Right?
come on, brother. It's
You gonna die.
that time of the week, brother. Especially if you a father and you doing that, man. Shame on you, man. If you a husband or a father, man, shame on you, man. That's just terrible. You got a whole rib and you begging another man for money.
You gotta have some type of pride.
That's like you said, you shameless, right? But get some more occupations. Get Genesis 30.
Give it down, spirit. That's that. My mama said I can eat that.
Get Genesis 30 in verse 14. All right, Genesis
30 and 14.
All right, bring it up.
My mama said I can eat that.
Bring it up.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 30 and verse 14.
Right?
And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest.
Right, so it was the days of wheat harvest, right? That's why, these different feast days, they're based on the moon cycle, right? And different harvests is coming in,
Genesis 1:14.
right? So jump to verse 16. I just wanted to show this during the wheat harvest, right?
Verse 16. It says, and Jacob came out of the field in the evening.
Right, so Jacob was in the field, man. Right? So what was he doing in the field? It was the wheat harvest. He was kind of doing his thing, man. Right? Tilling the ground. So Jacob tilled the ground, man. And he had to take care of his sheep. Right? So Jacob came out of the field, man. Right? Can you read it?
It says, and came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him.
All right.
And said, thou must come in unto me, for surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her at night.
You see that? So Jacob, he kind of left the field hard working. Then his wife kind of, walked up on him, man. Right through the spirit. So,
I like these hard work.
right. So get Genesis 24 and 45.
Genesis chapter 24, verse 45.
All right.
Weeds. And before I had done speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder.
Right, so Rebecca, this is a woman. She came forth with the pitcher on her shoulder, right, read?
And went down unto the well and drew water, and I said unto her, let me drink, I pray thee.
Right, so she basically was gathering the water for the house out of the well, right? That's certain thing that the women would do, man, right? So, hey, everybody was working in the ancient world, man, to make sure everything was running like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, real slocky. The woman ain't just lay up in the bed all day. Right?
I'm the princess.
Yeah, the woman ain't just lay up in the bed all day, just in the damn velvet sheets, right? Just laying up with the incense going, right? And the children running around everywhere, right?
Like how the heathen movie used to be. The king would wake up, they have a whole bed full of women. He'd get up and they'd just be laying there all day.
Yeah, it wasn't going down like that, man. That woman, she got up, right? She got up early in the morning too, man. Just like the man. They both got up early in the morning.
They'd get up, get dressed, and sit down.
Our forefathers didn't sleep until the evening time. That's off, man.
Guy, Jacob, he got done working and came home in the evening, man. Sun setting, man. He was out there all day, man.
Real quick, they say Yahushua, he woke up pretty much in the morning and he prayed in a solitary place. That's in Mark chapter 1, verse 35. Right? So he woke up before the dawn, man. So that was early in the morning.
Job did.
Right? Job, you got it.
Like, get Tobit.
I got one. I was thinking about the same precept, women's work to do.
Yeah. Go with 2 and 9, 2 and 11.
Yeah. This the book of Genesis. So like this Exodus 35 and verse 24. It say everyone that did offer an offering of silver and brass brought the Lord's offering, and every man with whom was found shitting wood for any work of the service brought it. And all the women that were wise-hearted did spin with their hands, and brought that which they had spun, both of blue and of purple and of scarlet and of fine linen.
Right, so they was sewing, man. Like the women was sewing together, like the veil and different things. The tabernacle. So women, that's woman's work to do. Right, they'll go get water out of the well. Right, they'll do things like that, man. Like it told it 2 and 11.
What was the
I
Genesis?
believe that was the ship as well,
Exodus
if
35.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that one.
And they can make clothes.
Yeah, 35 and 25. Exodus 35 and 25.
Oh, I was looking down too.
And this Exodus 25.
I was wise-hearted to so.
What was the Genesis precept? Like I got the chapter, but I just
20,
need the verse.
24 and
45.
45.
45. Count the water.
This the book of Tobit, chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 11. It says, and my wife Anna did take women's works to do.
In fact, start at 10.
That's what I think about.
Right.
This the book of Tobit, chapter 2, and
It's like really 9.
really not to show what's going on. This the book of Tobit, chapter 2, and verse 9. The same night also I returned from the burial and slept by the wall of my courtyard, being polluted, and my face was uncovered.
And that's hard work, burying somebody, man. Kind of had to dig a hole. Right, he kind of just passed out,
Yeah,
man.
it wasn't no what the construction site used.
Yeah.
Or
He had an old-fashioned kind of.
Yellow thing.
Bulldozer.
Yeah, what's that called, Malak? Right, the construction site, they kind of dig up the
scoop.
dirt.
the scoop.
Oh, what is it called?
Not a shovel. It's not a bulldozer. Not a bulldozer.
Right.
It's not, right?
Excavator. That way, excavator. Yeah.
Excavator. It was it wasn't that, man. They had to damn dig up that dirt, man. They
It's
had
called
to dig up that dirt.
And excavator. With
Wasn't no
the scoop on that joint.
Look it up real quick.
Scoop. Dig up
Hey,
the
you
dirt.
A big,
Kind
I
of.
was like, really-
Yeah, there you go right there. Right yonder. Right yonder.
Did it?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, the one of them, they use them to dig for the grave.
Hey man, it's tiring digging, man.
Yeah.
They did that my old job just dig.
Imagine digging 6 feet hole for a body.
I was
That's
saying,
all.
if y'all thought they,
Shemai.
I was just asking if y'all thought that they actually had shovels like we have today. You know those metal shovels that we use?
Possibly.
Yeah, I would think they had shovels.
Deuteronomy 23.
Because we gonna get into it, they had blacksmiths and stuff.
Yeah.
So, they had to they had to be able to make a shovel. That's an ancient tool.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 23, chapter 13.
That's ancient right there.
You said what precept?
Deuteronomy 23 and 13 tell you about the shovel.
And that's what your business now. Right? So a lot of things we got now they had in the ancient world. But
That's the
these
spirit.
stuff like the excavators,
Yeah.
these are pretty much new things, man. These are so-called new inventions.
Yeah, we had a
That's a
shovel.
modern day show.
The shovel and the wheel and different stuff like
And
that.
Esau got a lot of this knowledge from the spiritual demons,
23 and
man, on the
13.
left-hand side. That's why he's so blessed and prosperous to make these different inventions.
It tell you in Maccabees that they had I forgot the actual name, but it'll be relevant, not relevant, but similar to a blacksmith today, because there was we didn't have the metal man to make us shields and spears in Maccabees, so we had to use like basic stuff when we was about to go to war. So it tell you that in Maccabees, the unless they had metal workers and stuff, whatever you call that, to make a sword and all.
Blacksmith.
Yeah, but we lost our nation.
Blacksmiths, man.
So we didn't have it at the moment. When we was about
We
to
gonna bring
go
all
to war.
that out, bro. We get that precept.
This book Tobit chapter 2, and we on verse 10 now. And I knew not that there were sparrows in the wall, and my eyes being open, the sparrows muted warm dung into my eyes,
Ooh.
and a whiteness came into my eyes, and I went to the physicians, but they helped me not. Moreover, a Chiacharis did nourish me until I went into Elamaeus.
See that? So basically, he got blinded, man. And let's see what his wife did, really.
Verse 11. And my wife Anna did take women's works to do.
Right, so it was women's work to do. Keep reading.
And when she had when she had sent them home to the owners, they paid her wages and gave her also besides a kid.
You see that? So they actually gave her wages to do particular jobs. So women had work that they did as well.
And a point on that too is specify women's works. So that means it's a difference between what a man would do and what a woman would do. But in this day and time, you got women, they want to do the job of a man.
Right.
They actually had jobs that were specified for women.
I just got one more. Proverbs 31.
And the point
right?
is,
And you can start at 15.
and the point is, Ecclesiastes 4:9. Sometimes when a man hit rock bottom, his rib sometimes should pick up the slack to help.
That's pretty much what happened. Cause he couldn't do no work no more. He blind, so she had to pick up extra things so she could help with the household. That's what that account is going into. That's mighty.
So we a woman.
Say Eve today, they'll leave.
Yeah, they'll leave.
They call you broke.
That's only, real quick, that's really only if you can't work. You physically just can't work. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
outrage y'all, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
You
somebody
really
that
need
could
work,
a woman that could pick up the slack. You know what I'm
They
saying?
can use that.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind.
You gotta read that whole account. Ain't no trying to wing it with that, man.
Yeah, the man was blind.
Like, nah, you can't wing that.
I wanted to bring this out, Proverbs. Then I yield.
You was straight up blind.
Yeah, Proverbs 31 and
This
15.
is the book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 15. She wiseth also while it is yet night,
Right?
and giveth meat to her husband, and a portion to her handmaids.
Well, meat to her house.
Meat to her household. So like,
But it says she rises wise yet night, man. Waking up at 5 in the morning, like your great grandma did, man. Breakfast on the damn table at 7 a.m., man. Everything clean because she woke up at 4.
Everything clean. She just sold a
Hey, you can't sleep in the damn noon, man.
she just sold a fresh damn comforter, man.
Because the husband about to get up.
Right? Yeah, the cousin got to get up, go. So they get, that's how a woman should be. Rise wise night and give meat to her household, right? Can you read it?
Get up and go to
verse
school.
16. She considereth a field and buyeth it.
Right, so she's looking for opportunities to increase the money within the household.
That's right.
Right, so she's saying, you know what? We got extra money, we can buy this field, right? Can you read it?
It says, with the fruit of her hands, she planted a vineyard.
With the fruit of her own hands, she planted a vineyard. Right, so she kind of bought a field and planted a vineyard in that thing, right? So she can bring forth, more things for the household. Man. You can do a lot with a vineyard. Right, that's great. You can kind of make wine with it and sell the wine, or it's just food for your family, or both. Right, so that's a mighty act, man. So that's women's work right there, planting vineyards and things of that nature. Right, with that, I yield.
1 Timothy 2 and 10.
John, I got one after you.
The book, you said 1 Timothy?
1 Timothy 2 and 10.
It's the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 10. It says, but which becometh women professing godliness with good works.
That's right. So women had good works in the ancient world.
That's right.
Right, those are good works. So you can learn a lot from your forefathers and foremothers, man. Right, they wasn't just laying around, sitting around, not doing a damn thing. Right? Even your grandmother, right? When you check out your grandmother or your great grandmother, and they had things in order, man. When you go in their house, it wasn't dirty, it didn't stink. I mean, hey, everybody's great grandmother was spotless clean, man. Right? Everything was in order, man. She reading her book, right? She got her little sewing, her crochet, right? She's sitting in a little rocking chair. She in order, right? Man, come on. And even in your great-great-grandfather, man, right? He outside working on something, right? He's sweating, right? Hand me that, boy, hand me that. Right? He kind of doing that, right? He's sweating, man. Right? He always got something going on.
Nowadays, Jake don't know how to
Change the
Change the
tire.
tire,
Change the
man.
damn tire.
Yeah. Hey, the curses, man.
I'm about to say, everybody grandparents got that wood cabin with all the old glass in there, the old cups and stuff. Like that. Everybody drink out of that. They be all organized.
Yeah, they do be neat.
My grandma got one.
They know how to wake up cars.
She got her daddy picture right here. Her mama picture like in the corner.
That's literally
That's
how-
mama right there. You know what I'm saying?
She got a fruit tree in the backyard.
She got
Go
a
get that. Go get that fruit.
She got a cookie jar with sewing things.
Hey, everything y'all just said, that's all in my grandmother's house.
Yeah, they got
They
things in
got
order.
they got the things, the pictures of
She had,
great grandmother.
The grandma had ginger, man.
Yeah, ginger, kind of making ginger at night.
That's
You
why they
know.
love going to grandma's house.
They like the brother said, they literally made dinner at 4 o'clock. It'd be done.
Damn.
It would have been 6, 5 o'clock. Just make breakfast for everybody.
All the clothes
You wake up
clean.
and you smell something. What's that smell? It smells good. It smells the toast. You got the grits. You got the egg. You got the beef sausage. And they did their thing through the spirit.
Kids
You
gotta
know?
get up. Kids gotta
Yeah,
get up. Go
and
to school.
they moving in
husband
wisdom.
Go to work.
Exactly.
Everything gotta be later. They about to take the kids to work. They
Yeah.
give me kids. I'm like, you gotta go to school. You know what I'm saying?
And they got a vineyard in their
The
backyard. They
bus
got,
out, the bus outside. You know what I'm saying?
You can
Get on
jump
that bus,
13
boy. You know what I'm
on
saying?
see that? They got
We got Proverbs
grapes.
13, 31 and 13.
I want to keep reading that too. More than
The whole Proverbs fire.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 31, right? Going back to verse 13. Oh yeah, right here. Yeah, Book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 13. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands.
Right, so that's just something you gotta definitely bring up. We should have actually started at 13.
Yeah.
But yeah, she working willingly with her hands, man, in this thing, right? And then like it says, she is like the merchant's ships. She bring her food from afar. Right, so she, she make it happen, man. Right, so even a woman was making it happen. But yeah, you
bring up Proverbs 27 and 26. Brothers brought out a lot of good points. Beautiful, magnificent points that all pertain to diverse occupations.
I was gonna say, King, I ain't never seen my grandma I've seen her a few times get in the shower. Cause I be sleep 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. She be up in the shower.
You see
In
that?
the bath. And I get up everything laid out. She done already did everything.
Our forefathers and foremothers was in order, man.
They say her
That's
worship.
the point.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 26. The lambs are for thy clothing, and the goats are the price of the field.
Right, we brought that out earlier. You have to have somebody to shear the sheep. That was the occupation, and you had to pay him some type of talent. You have to pay him. You can't just say, no, this is pro bono work. No, somebody did that, right? Abraham, Isaac, they had flock. They were rich, right? Not rich by just metal coin or whatever. They was rich by the cattle. And that's really ultimately, real quick, that's ultimately what makes you rich at the end of the day. Let's finish this out.
And thou shalt have goat's milk.
You're gonna have goat's milk as well. Somebody has to yank that goat, man.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Milk the goat.
Yeah.
And goat milk is pretty decent. You can make cheese from goats.
It says, enough for thy food, for the food of thy household, and for the maintenance for thy maidens.
For the what?
The maintenance for thy maidens.
That's the maintenance for thy maidens. So that's why you even have bondmaids. And they do these things, right? They do these occupations. It's something for everybody out there. All work wasn't just strictly, exclusive to men. You have women doing work as well. Let's get another precept real quick in Exodus 35.
Hagar.
And 25, that's right.
What I was gonna say,
He brought that out already.
along with the sheep and everything like that, you got what they produce. If you cutting that sheep, you getting that fur. That's the product that you can sell to somebody else that can make you more money and make clothes and stuff like that.
Con.
I got
I was gonna get Matthew. Bible chart. Matthew chapter 9. And
38.
you can jump down to 9. Matthew 9 and 9.
The book of Matthew, chapter 9 and verse 9. Matthew 9 and verse 9. It says, and Herod said, John have I beheaded. But who is this of whom I hear such things? And he desired to see him.
So you have Matthew 9 and 9?
Oh, Salaki, Luke. Book of Matthew, chapter 9, verse 9. Matthew 9 and verse 9. And as Yahushua passed forth from thence, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the receipt of custom. And he said unto him, follow me. And he arose and followed him.
And he dropped everything he was doing. Can we Google what a receipt of customs is?
Bring that up.
In a King James definition. Right, so not everything was labor.
Right.
The Bible or the blue letter.
You can go to the
Because you got
Bible.
different kind of jobs. You got blue collar jobs. You have so-called white collar jobs. Right, so everything wasn't in the field, sweating, beaming on your face. And you got mental down work, man. You got financial advisors, right? You got a receipt of custom. Physicians, right? Physicians wasn't gonna be out there, damn, sweating all hours a day out in the field, man.
Or lawyers. If you keep reading it, say,
You got lawyers,
it's
detectives,
You got gym cutters. That's Exodus 28 and 11.
So here it is, right? The phrase occurs in connection with the call of Matthew to become a disciple of Yahushua Mashiach. It is found in 3 synoptic passages. As you can read the passages, continuing on, it says, renders kathemon, that's some Greek or Latin, as sitting at that receipt of customs. More accurately, sitting at the place of toll,
Yeah.
sitting at the tax office.
Yeah.
And it continues on saying, what?
It says that is to say.
That is to say,
Yeah.
Was the table or booth where the telos or tax, KJV custom, was collected from the taxpayer. More exactly, the telos was an indirect tax or customs duty levied on good in connection with a business transaction of some sort, in contradistinction to a pharos or tribute.
that's right.
Basically, it's a tax.
So yeah, you had tax collectors in the ancient world, and not everybody liked them. Your modern day tax collectors is the IRS, right? What's that? The Internal Revenue Service, right? They keep tabs on your taxes,
Good though.
and they get paid money as they did in the ancient world. That's why Luke even said, it's like John said in the book of Luke. Can you grab that Bible chart? That's Luke chapter 3, verse. Start down a little bit further.
Grave diggers too.
You want to start at 1 for Luke?
Very
Luke
You
3
can-
and 1.
No, you can start. You can jump down to 7.
The book of Luke chapter 3 and verse 7. Luke 3 and verse 7. Then said he to the multitude that came forth to be baptized of him, O generation of vipers, who have warned you to flee from the wrath to come?
You can jump down to verse 12.
That's what I was thinking. Verse 12. Then came, dropping down to verse 12. Then came also publicans to be baptized, and said unto him, Master, what shall we do? And he said unto them, exact no more than that which is appointed you.
Can we Google a publican as well? Because he said, exact no more than that. It's like it. Exact no more than that which is appointed to you. Because some people abused their jobs.
Yeah.
Again, that's just a manager of a tax collector, pretty much.
I was right here, the second definition. In ancient Rome,
In biblical
Yeah,
times.
you collect
Ancient Rome in
taxes.
biblical times, it says a collector of taxes.
So some people would say, hey, yeah, you owe some taxes, but give me some more. Or else. And they'll jam you up. They have an
Or they
officer
just
by them.
finesse you and say you owe this much, but they add a little extra.
Yeah, for them, so it can go in their
Supposed to be 2
pockets.
shekels, but they saying he has 4
Yeah, because
shekels.
you gotta understand, these men, they weren't mediocre men. They were learned men. Like, they
Yeah.
had understanding. They knew about finances. So it's easy to manipulate a poor person that don't know anything about money.
They were wise.
They get manipulated all the time by your banks. Right? They stealing money from you, trying to figure out what's going on. Or they say, oh, this was discharged, discharge going on at this particular day and such, and you just kind of lost, man. Whole time they finessing you. Right? So,
Yeah, that's off.
It happens, man.
That's literally happening today.
Kind of like salesman.
Yeah.
Salesman.
Always salesman. You got a precept point, King?
I got 2 points if that's cool.
You got it.
When you read Tobit, Tobit, he was, I'm led to believe he was a traitor, for the king back then. And we can bring it out in Tobit chapters 1 and verse 12.
Oh, that's, I think that's his nephew or cousin or something like that.
That
That
was
was
his
in charge of the king's
Tobit,
state.
Tobit, well, just bring it out. I'm gonna let the scripture speak.
Come.
I'm gonna go to that next too.
You start at, you want to start at,
You can start up at verse 12.
this is the book of Tobit, chapter 1 and verse 12. It says, because I remember Yahweh with all my heart, and the Most High gave me grace and favor before Enemissar, so that I was his purveyor.
Right, so when you look that up, it actually goes back to being a trader of luxurious things. Right, so he was at a high office in this thing.
how you spell that?
Purv.
Sounds like
Okay.
being in a pawn shop,
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think you just give things to pawn shops, but
Yeah,
they
check
collect
that out.
things.
Right.
He was a trader.
Yeah, a
The
vendor.
person who sells or deals a particular good, seller, vendor,
Tobit
trader,
1 and
retailer,
12
supplier,
through 13.
provider.
That's mighty.
Right, then when you actually, you can keep
Got
reading.
cupbearers and stuff.
How you say that?
Purveyor. Purveyor. Keep reading.
It was more on that, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more.
Keep reading.
Yeah,
It says-
because I want to bring out this quick point. With him being able to have that office, he was able to leave money for his children's children. You can keep going.
It says, and I went into Media and left in trust with Gabriel, the brother of Gabarius, at Rages, a city of Media, 10 talents of silver.
Right, so he laid up silver for his son, Tobias. Right, that's why the it was the archangel and Tobias. They literally went on a mission to go get that same money that he laid up for his child.
It's mighty.
Con.
So
Can I get
point.
can I get Tobit chapter
You got probably touch your camera.
Oh, God.
Right
right?
on and off.
It's a lot. see. It said what?
That's a
the
mighty
wife said,
point,
"Be
man.
not greedy to add money to money."
That's a real mighty point right there.
Right. Let's go on.
I got some more after y'all done.
Con, you had another point on that?
No,
Or
I
a
just,
Chia Charles or no?
another precept.
You can bring out your preset. You still
I got two if that's cool.
Con, that's good, King.
Con, you can jump down to verse 21.
Yeah, this is Chia Charles.
point though.
This is the book of Tobit, chapter 1 and verse 21. And there passed not 50 days before two of his sons killed him, and they fled into the mountains of Ararat, and Sarchedonus, his son, reigned in his stead, who appointed over his father's accounts.
Right, so he was literally a what's that word called? Account holder, right? An accountant, right? These are mighty officers, right? So you had the rich of our people, then you had the poor of our people as well. But we all was working, right? Bring it up.
And over all his affairs, Chia Charles, my brother and the eldest son.
Right, so the Most High gave them grace to the point where they had these high officers. Right? And I think that's, you keep going, there's more than that.
Yes, more. And Chia Charles entreating for me, I returned to Nineveh. Now Chia Charles was cupbearer and keeper of the signet and steward and overseer of the accounts. And Sarchedonus appointed him next unto him. And he was my brother's son.
It's mighty as hell. The Most High can give you grace to do these things before his eyes. Right.
He's the king's cupbearer.
One last precept. I want to go to Acts chapter 4.
Yeah, I was gonna get that.
You was about to get Acts chapter 4.
No.
Oh, Acts chapter 4 and verse 32.
This is the book of Acts chapter 4 and verse 32.
Because we was also, we was into real estate, houses and lands and things of that nature.
What was the tent maker?
Jump down to verse. You could jump down to verse 33.
This
Or
the
no,
book-
just go to verse 32. Salaki.
This is the book of Acts chapter 4 and verse 32. And the multitude of them that believed were of one heart and of one soul. Neither said any of them that aught of the things which he possessed was his own,
Right.
but they had all things common.
Right. So the disciples back then, they was mighty. They was all of one accord. Right. Bring it up.
It says, and with great power gave the apostles witness of the resurrection of the Lord Yahushua, and great grace was upon them all.
Right. Keep going.
Neither was there any among them that lacked.
Right. So they looked out for one another. That's how we got to be. Keep going.
For as many as were possessors of lands
Come.
or houses sold them.
They did
and,
what?
and sold them.
Right. So they was into real estate, making bread. Bring it up.
And brought the pieces and brought the prices of the things that were sold and laid them down at the apostles' feet, and distribution was made unto every man according as he had need.
Right, so they was doing that back then. You had some of our people being wicked, not bringing the full amount that they sold.
Yeah,
That's why
the price.
Yeah, they was put to death.
I got a precept on that too. 'Cause that's mighty. That is mighty.
So you got
Real estate agent,
right? Real estate agents.
Yeah, we had
Realtor.
We had
Right.
Countless.
Get Jeremiah 32 and 10.
The book of Jeremiah chapter 32 and verse.
And that was Acts, right?
That was Acts.
Yeah, we was in captivity too, man.
Right.
Right? And they still was doing their thing.
No excuse.
Like, bring that out.
You said Jeremiah 32 and 10.
Yeah.
This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 32 and verse 10.
Right?
And I subscribed the evidence and sealed it and took witnesses and weighed him the money in the balances.
Right, so you would have the evidence of the purchase. You would weigh the money with witnesses. And they do that now, right? When you go buy a house, get a mortgage, hey, it's people there. You got a witness, you got the realtor, everybody signing. Right, that's what's going on here, right? Keep reading.
So I took the evidence of the purchase.
So I did what?
Took the evidence of the purchase.
What is the evidence of purchase? That's a deed. Right, so they had deeds in the ancient world, right? Keep reading.
It says both that which was sealed according to the law and custom, and that which was open.
You see that? So they actually had evidence of purchases, man. They had deeds. Right, so you had men that was trading deeds, selling houses and property. Right, this is all the different things we was doing. We was cupbearers of the king. Right, you had men that was all different types of occupations in the ancient world, man. Men and women. Right, what you got?
All right, look up how much the average real estate agent makes. Right now, we know it ranges depending on how prosperous you are at the business, but just look up the average. Right. If these guys make more than people who feed swine, okay, they make more than sheep shearers. You understand? You got it.
It's just the average in Detroit. It can be from 40 to 140,000 a year. Right, and physicians or top Brain surgeons make 200,000 a year. So to be anywhere near that is crazy. You can make as much as you want with real estate.
And that's a comfortable lifestyle, man.
That's right.
Right? I appreciate it.
And that's just average.
Con.
I got
Bring it out, then I got one after you.
I point out to all y'all.
God, this stuff, because going into that,
Oh yeah.
going into that real estate and dealing with homes and stuff. This the book of 2 Kings, chapter 22. I'm gonna start at verse 5. And let them deliver it into the hand of the doers of the work that have the oversight of the house of the Lord. And let them give it to the doers of the work, which is in the house of the Lord, to repair the breaches of the house, unto carpenters and builders and masons, and to buy timber and hewn stone to repair the house.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you're dealing in the real estate field, they have they main home improvement guy to come rebuild the house if they want to buy,
Contractors.
a little $1,000 home from the land bank and they get that joint built up, man. They've been doing this since the ancient days. Masons doing the bricklaying, carpenters with the woodwork. We've been doing this, man. These are occupations in the scriptures that you got in today's day and time.
Yeah.
And it's used for
Joseph
real
was a
estate as well.
carpenter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joseph was a carpenter, right? Howard Shah's father.
GTV spirit. That's what it's called. Isn't he the carpenter's son?
Con.
We got money, man.
Yeah, you got it, Rob All, and I got one after you.
Wait,
Oh no, I go after you because I was just about to bring out some ideas that brothers can get into to make some, extra money on the side.
Con, let me bring this up. Give me Isaiah 54:16. So we got blacksmiths and goldsmiths, man, and also silversmiths in the ancient world. Right, so give me Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. Somebody look up a blacksmith.
this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, and verse 16.
Right?
Behold, I have created the smith.
The what?
The smith.
Right, so the Lord created the smiths. Right, read on.
That bloweth the coals in the fire.
And that blow up the coals in the fire. Read on.
And bringeth forth an instrument.
Bring forth the what?
An instrument.
A weapon. Right? So you have men that created weapons in the ancient world. Swords, knives, lancets, spears. Right? And you have men that are in that occupation today. They create guns. You manufacture guns and nukes, right? And all kind of weaponry.
Bombs.
And those men make a lot of money, right? Keep reading.
An instrument for his work.
A what?
For his work.
Right? And war is war is always gonna happen, man, till the kingdom come. Right? So if you into that business of war, hey, you're gonna make a lot of lucrative money, man. Right? It's a movie called War Dogs. Right? They was selling guns, man, reselling guns to the US Army. And they was making a shit ton of money. I'm just saying it like that, man. Millions of dollars. So if you into that business of war, being a blacksmith, trading, selling, right, you're gonna make a lot of money. Keep reading.
And I have created the waster to destroy.
Right, so when you look up that word blacksmith, a person who makes and repairs things in iron by hand. Right? Let's say a farrier.
Right, so he's a farrier. Like that's back when they had the anvil, man. Oh, that's mad.
That's in Sirach too.
Right, so Khan, give me Jeremiah chapter 24 and verse 1. Right, so you got men who are blacksmiths in the ancient world.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 24, and verse 1.
And you need a blacksmith within your army if you're going to war. Because they have to create the weapons that you're going to use to take down your enemy. Right? You're not just going to go to war, everybody going to throw hands. That's not happening like that, man. You got swords, you got spears, you got shields. The blacksmiths were in charge of making these different things. You got it.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 24, verse 1. The Lord shewed me, and behold, 2 baskets of figs were set before the temple of the Lord, after that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried away captive Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and the princes of Judah, with the carpenters.
With the what?
With the carpenters.
With the carpenters. So you had Israelites that were carpenters. Again, they dealt with woodwork. Read on.
And smiths.
And smiths. You had blacksmiths, those who created the weapons. Read on.
From Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babylon.
And had brought them to Babylon, right? To be enslaved. And also get Isaiah chapter 44 and verse 12.
Point real quick. Along with being a blacksmith, you can make it. You gotta know how to fix it.
You gotta know how to fix it as well. Right? Because your gun might get jammed up, and if your gun get jammed up, that's horrible.
Shit,
Right? Because guess what? You're gonna need it. The thing kind of jamming up, it's falling apart, and it's backfiring, and all hell breaking loose.
You gotta
Right?
kind of go in there, see what's wrong with it,
Yeah.
fix that part, make sure it's functioning correct,
Yeah.
and that's very important right there, along with making it. You know how to fix it.
That's right. Give me Isaiah chapter 44, verse 12. And that's what the blacksmiths were in charge of. You got it.
This
And,
the book of
there's levels to it too, man. Right? Because like the brother I not brought out, you got men who create nuclear weapons. Right? So they got to kind of work hand in hand with the scientists. Right? And they got to kind of know what's going on. Or they're going to blow themselves up, man. Blow up a whole damn country.
You got people that disable bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a dangerous profession as well, man. Working with these different weapons. You got it, brother. Isaiah 44 and 12.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 44, verse 12. The smith,
The what?
the smith,
The smith. Read on.
with the tongs, both worketh in the coals.
Look up tongs, brother. You
And-
say the smith with the tongs both worketh in the coals. You got it.
And fashioneth it with hammers.
Right, they kind of using the hammers, they fashion it, they kind of get
Get
it
it in.
good.
Look.
Right, read on.
And worketh it in the strength of his arms.
In the what?
In the strength of his arms.
Hold on, so you can't be a weakling, right? Even certain jobs that ask you, are you able to lift 20 pounds or 50 pounds or 100 pounds, right? Because certain jobs require physical strength.
It's like it, because a blacksmith, they deal with iron. Right, so that's not light, man. You kind of got the kind of putting it on the fire. You kind of, hey man, it was getting it in, right, with that, man.
Yeah, iron is very heavy, man.
And you can't touch certain parts of it because it's
Yeah, it's hot.
super hot.
You understand? They get visual real quick. Oh, sure. Right, so they show these in a lot of medieval time movies, and right, they show the blacksmith kind of working in the cold, and they fashioning it.
What video?
It say, right, so it say the smith with the tongue. So the brother just pulled up the picture of the tongue. So they working with these different tools and so-called utensils, right?
Visual for the J.
And working with the strength of his arms.
It's hot as hell.
Try to make
It's
glass.
hot, they sweating,
That's how
right?
make
They
glass.
kind of they getting it in, man. They working with the strength of their arms giving out, they sword,
You know, big old coats on.
you know.
I know they got
They trying not to get burnt. So these was rough men, right? And you're not gonna find a woman, being a blacksmith in the ancient world.
Was simple. Introduce
Kind of like a welder there.
Yeah, they
invention.
wear those masks too.
You got
That's
to
exactly
Yeah, yeah.
You got to play it to it.
One platform.
Because weld is well metal together.
This is Arna.
This is to show how I kind of
Right.
the visual going.
Didn't the Industrial Revolution drive them to extinction? Not quite. You can still find blacksmiths making swords and daggers and more common stuff like furniture, kitchen cutlery, and sculptures
Yeah.
in their shop called a forge or a smithy.
Yeah, so I can pause that real quick. Because it wasn't just weapons, it's any manner of things that involves iron. So you got utensils, right? You might forks,
Got the menorah.
menorah,
They use glass. And they use fire.
just different things, man. It's a variety of things that they can create, right?
Their elements. The exact steel alloy a blacksmith chooses to work with
Hey, look at
depends on
that.
what they're making. Knives
See,
and
that's
tools that can
socket.
cut
That was that tool right there, that thong right there, that tong. Check it out.
knives and tools that can cut through
And
metal.
you use tongs too, when Eve kind of cooking, they trying to pick up something that's hot, they using a tong, because you can't do it with your hands. I don't care how much gloves you put on, you're gonna get burnt, right? So you gotta use a tong to grab these things out.
You can't always use a spatula.
Yeah.
It's that east
Some
stuff.
grease. Use some tongues for the grease.
Kind of making it happen, man.
You getting a good servant.
You said still can do it like
You so weak.
See that? So it was some work, huh?
Yeah, and keep reading on to that.
It says, the smith with the tongs both worketh in the coals and fashioneth with hammers and worketh it in the strength of his arms. Yea, he is hungry.
He is what?
He is hungry.
He is hungry. He is in there starving, man. He didn't eat in like 12 hours, man. Hey, certain jobs like that, It might give you a lunch break for 30 minutes, right? But that 30 minutes fly fast, man. You might be so into your work that you can't even really take a lunch break, man. You got to get this stuff done, right?
Certain time.
At a certain time.
And his strength faileth.
This Isaiah 44 and 12.
I thought we
It said, yea, he is hungry, and read on.
and his strength faileth.
His hands given out, his knees given out, right? Read on.
He drinketh no water, and is faint.
He drinketh no water and is faint. Read on.
The countenance stretcheth out his rule. He mocketh it out with a line.
That's a ruler, man. Hey, the carpenter stretcheth out his rule and
That's
he marketh
right.
it with a line.
That's literally what they
Right? So this is a
really
ruler.
kind of getting it in. He kind of getting the measurements perfect, cut it all.
And carpenters have to know math, man. That's right. Or you can't be a carpenter, you're like, 1 and a half. Okay, maybe that's this one. Maybe that's like this.
Yeah.
No, man. You gotta know the measurements. You gotta be on it. You gotta have that mental intelligence when it comes to that.
If you one inch off, would throw the whole project off.
You throw the whole project off, man. And they get mad about that too, man. Let you get a measurement wrong. All hell gonna break loose.
Yeah,
4 feet and 5 inches.
Yeah,
Or
you
whatever.
got 4 feet and 4 inches.
And
Oh,
if it's
yeah.
off
You
by
gonna
that
go
much,
all day.
he'll let you go home.
That's
Yeah,
what happened.
right,
My
go
job.
home.
They say, okay, go clock out, man.
You get fired
Go
for
clock
like half
out,
an
man.
inch, man.
Like
Yeah.
a modern day architect.
Restart.
Yeah.
Quarter of it.
And
You
it
got
costs
it.
some money like that.
God, you got it, brother.
It's just like when we was building that tabernacle, right? If you was off by a bread for a half, I mean, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the Most High had the tabernacle perfect in the heavens. It gotta be, correct.
Be therefore perfect. Get that in Matthew 5:48, right? Because that goes in, hey, you got to be perfect in all things, man. Even on your job, you got to be perfect with certain things, or you're subject to getting fired. You're subject to throwing things off, right? You got a point, brother? Come on, let me bring this out first,
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 48.
right?
Be ye therefore perfect.
What the Bible say?
Be ye therefore perfect,
It's going into your job as well. Be therefore perfect. Read on.
even as you Father which is in heaven is perfect.
So these carpenters, they had to be perfect. They couldn't say, "Oh, my bad, man. I forgot, man. Man, my bad, man. Salakia. If you got a carpenter that's always talking about Salakia, he's going to get fired, man. Right? They was precise, man.
Yeah.
You check out these home improvement guys, these carpenters, these construction work, and they precise, man.
Look at DIY.
These not your
Do it
average men.
yourself.
You got a point, brother?
Yeah, Proverbs 11:1.
Come on, bring it up.
Proverbs 11, verse 1 reads, Proverbs 11, verse 1. A false balance
A
is,
false balance, right? Read
is
on.
abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight.
But a just weight is his delight, right? A just hen, a just ephah, right? Everything got to be just and everything has to be in order. So going back to the carpenter, it says he stretcheth out his rule, he marketh it with a line. Keep reading.
I gotta go back to Jeremiah 44, right? Verse 13 now.
Isaiah.
I mean, Salaki, yeah. Isaiah 44. Get back there. So Isaiah 44 and verse 13, it says, the countenance stretcheth out his rule, he mocketh it out with a line, he fitteth it with planes, and he mocketh it out with the compass.
With the what?
The compass.
And they use compasses, man. Right? So this is a lot of measurements going on, a lot of math being portrayed right here.
It's like it kind of because it's like how you gotta have it on a level plane, like you gotta be level and stuff like that. Same thing.
Yeah. Right? Bring it up.
It says, and maketh it after the figure of a man, according to the beauty of a man, that it may remain in the house.
Right? They might make statues. Right? A lot of these, you had carpenters and blacksmiths on the left-hand side. They erected statues and created idols and things of that nature. And they made a lot of money. Right? That's in, I believe, in the book of Acts as well. Acts the 19th chapter. Right? And we're going to bring that out too, because, that's a good point. It say the beauty of a man, that it may remain in the house. Right? Keep reading.
It says, he heweth him down cedars.
Which are trees.
That's an occupation too.
Right?
It says, and taketh the cypress and the oak, which he shrinketh for himself among the trees of the forest. He planteth an ash, and the wain doeth nourish.
Right, now get Acts chapter 19. Acts chapter 19.
I forgot what it's called, but it's an actual occupation to chop down trees and stuff. I forgot.
A lumberjack, yeah, that's a lumberjack hewing when you're hewing down trees, man. Let's see. Get verse 26, start at 26. You can start at, start at 24. Acts 19, 24. Right, you got blacksmiths, silversmiths, goldsmiths, right?
Look at
Blacksmiths are like your blacksmith, they work with iron. Silversmith, they work with silver. Goldsmith, they work with gold.
And you had coppersmith as well.
You know?
I believe that was a man, there's a certain coppersmith that did
wood.
Paul did much evil. He worked with copper.
Okay, copper, yeah, kind of. All right, bring this up, Acts 19:24.
The book of Acts chapter 19 and verse 24. For a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith,
Right, this man named Demetrius, he was a silversmith. Read on.
which made silver shrines for Diana.
He made silver shrines for Diana, a false god, the queen of heaven. Ishtar, Ashtoreth. Right, read on.
It says, brought no small gain unto the craftsman.
AC bought no small gain to the craftsmen. This man bought big money, big cash to these craftsmen.
Wickedness,
man. And wickedness. Read on.
It says, whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation, and said, sirs, ye know that by this craft we have our wealth.
We have our what?
We have our wealth.
We have our money. Right? We have our bands. We have our millions by this craft. Read on.
It's all Asia. This Paul.
This what?
This Paul.
This Paul. It's that Paul right here, man. Read on.
Have persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods which we are made with hands.
Right, keep
which
reading.
are made with hands. So that not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught.
Hey, he messing up our money, man. Our craft is at naught to be set in danger.
That's right.
Right, and that's what Jake said. When we go out there on street corners, man, we messing up their money. They might be selling drugs, right? They may be out there just doing some kind of wickedness. We start rebuking them. A preacher, we rebuking them. We going into the scriptures. We getting the Bible verses, right? And we messing up their money now, right? Keep reading.
It says, so that not only our craft is in danger to be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed from all Asia and the world worship.
Right, keep reading.
It says, and when they heard these things, so like when they heard these sayings, they were full of wrath.
They were what?
They were full of wrath, and cried out, saying, great is Diana of the Ephesians.
Right, so, hey, all hell broke loose after that, man. Right, so again, we messing up people money, and these different occupations, they do it on the left-hand side as well. So you got right-handed side, you doing it out of righteousness. You got people that do it out of wickedness as well, to erect statues, to make idols, right?
That's right. I just wanted to make a point because they wasn't sincere either. Because the first thing they was worried about was the craft. They said, so our craft gonna be at naught, and the goddess Diana. Right. You know, so they was more worried about the money, man. At the end of the day, they didn't really give a damn about the damn statue. They really wanted their craft to stay there because they got their wealth from that craft.
One more. Get Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 6.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 46, right? Verse 6 reads, Isaiah 46, verse 6. They lavish gold out of the bag.
Right, they take the gold out the bag. Read on.
And weigh silver in the balance.
Right, they put it upon the measurement. Right, they put it upon the the weighing, the balance. Right.
And hire a goldsmith.
Right, they hire that goldsmith that works with gold. Read on.
And he maketh it a god.
He do what?
Maketh it a god.
He maketh it a god, man. All right, so these, hey, man, a lot of these men was in Babylon. This is Babylon, man.
Oh.
Right? Babylon had many gods. So the goldsmiths and the blacksmiths in Babylon, it was rich, man. It was making good money. Right? But guess what? It was going off. You got it.
It says, Salaki, they fall down, yea, they worship.
Right?
They bear him upon their shoulder. They carry him and set him in his place. And he standeth from his place, shall he not remove?
Right. And real quick, man, it takes talent to make these different things, man. Right? You got like ice sculptors, right? You got wood sculptors, right? It takes a lot of talent to create this art, because ultimately it's art. You understand? So the average man can't just say, "I want to be a blacksmith," and he kind of takes some iron and he just put it down and he's staring at it. What to do now, right? And he take a damn pencil and start hitting at it, or a hammer and start hitting at it. He going off, man. It's not gonna do nothing for him. You got it.
It says, from his place shall he not remove, yea, one shall cry unto him, yet can he not answer, nor save him out of his trouble.
Right? Again, Micah chapter 1 and verse 7. I'm gonna yield. Micah chapter 1 and verse 7.
He's a goldsmith.
Nah.
I got one for you real quick.
Book of Micah, chapter 1 and verse 7. Book of Micah, chapter 1 and verse 7.
Yeah.
And all the graven images thereof shall be beaten to pieces, and all the hires thereof shall be burned with the fire.
Right, those who create these graven images, the hires, those who got hired to create these graven images. Read on. Thereof shall be burnt with fire. Read on.
It says, and all the hires thereof shall be burned with the fire, and all the idols thereof will I lay desolate, for she gathered it out of the hire of the harlot, and they shall return to the hire of the harlot.
Right, so with that I yield.
You bring out Genesis 4 and 21. Right? You got goldsmiths, you got blacksmiths, you got silversmiths, but you also have coppersmiths as well. Somebody had to make the trumpets, certain instruments, certain wood instruments. It requires pieces of copper. And somebody had to be an artificer and fabricate, these certain metals and bend it to their will for whatever their purpose was. So you got it, King.
You said 4
and 22, Genesis.
The book of Genesis,
it's like 21.
The book of Genesis, chapter 4, verse 21. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ.
So you had people that made harps and organs all the way in Genesis. Or can you Google an organ, Bob Kashar? It's not talking about the organ in your body, but the instrument, right? The musical instrument organ.
Yeah, you had singers in the ancient world, musicians. Right?
Yeah,
That's the first Samuel chapter 10 verse 5.
You know, get into the images. Erwin,
That's occupation too.
Yeah, that's an occupation.
it's another type of organ as well, but even in ancient organs, you see the little metal, and it, it produces some type of, beautiful sound, of course. It's more so like chimes, for lack of a better word. Yeah, that's a good picture. That's still piano. But nevertheless, you can bring out 2 Timothy 4 and 14. That's 2 Timothy 4 and 14.
The book of 2 Timothy.
It's only occupation here,
Hey, somebody did it. Somebody had to do it.
It's the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4 and verse 14. Alexander the coppersmith did me much evil.
Right, so whoever he was, he did Paul much evil. What did Paul say?
It says, the Lord reward him according to his works.
All right, so he's going to get jammed up. I got 2 more. You can bring out 2 Maccabees chapter 5, verse 1.
2 Maccabees, chapter 5 and verse 1. Reads, about the same time, Antiochus prepared his second voyage into Egypt, and then it happened that through all the city, for the space almost of 40 days, there were seen horsemen running in the air, and called of gold, armed with lances like a band of soldiers.
Go ahead.
It says, verse 3, and troops of horsemen.
So because when you go to war, you have weapons on you. They knights, they don't only have a sword on them. They had a shield. They might have another little knife. They had chain armor, and that's in Maccabees as well. Them literally having their chain armor. I forgot what they call it. They got a weird name, but you got it.
It says, and troops of horsemen in a way, encountering and running one against another with shaking of shields and multitude of pikes.
Hold on. Can you Google pikes, Bible Control? Because like the brother said, we don't all have swords on our hand. They have different instruments when it comes to war that, they're better suited for certain occasions.
And also, it depends on that person as well, man. right? Because Jay kind of like viral. He might like this kind of gun or that kind of gun. Or it's different, man, depending on how you go to war.
And each weapon had its true purpose. This is good for the long distance battles. If you have a sword and I have that, and you coming towards me, I might win. I got a long ass sword. Especially if there's an army of us, and all y'all got knives or swords, and we just poke you. And that's it. You see that in 300. They kind of just had their lances, and they start jamming them up. You got it.
You got bow and arrows too.
Yeah, we got bow and arrows. And arrows, you have metal workers. They had to shape that arrow into something real sharp. It couldn't be dull. It couldn't be round. It had to puncture and impact the flesh. So this is what these horsemen were wearing. They had lances and gold, and they was decked out. But nevertheless, you see all the different types of weapons they had. And they had one more in Sirach.
Yeah, like the harpoons when he come up on the animals, you catch them, you throw it up like this, and hit them with it, hit the harpoon like 3 or 4 times. Animal will be down.
I think that's in the scriptures.
I think that's the one I was thinking of. I thought that was the Maccabees. Sirach 37, 38. Yeah.
25.
You can start verse 25.
Book Sirach 38.
Yep, that's what it is. Hypergenium. That's that chain armor, and that's the Maccabees as well. A lot of people think, oh, all these things happened during the Middle Ages. No, we've been had this stuff. The Middle Ages, the Renaissance, they weren't the first ones to produce all these different types of weapons and armor. We've been had this stuff.
Bulletproof vest.
Yeah, we're the original knights.
That's an ancient bulletproof vest.
Well, for the sword, but some swords could go through it. Certain swords could go through it.
Like a girdle.
Like certain bullets, look, you say the harm.
And you have that TV show, Forged in the Fire, and another one where they have all these weapons and they test it out on people. Chain armor sometimes. It may not be people, but it's dummies. You know? But still you see the impact of these weapons and how they all serve a purpose. So you can go to Sirach 37 and,
I remember that
or 38 and 24.
I had a precept I was on.
That's like this is my last one.
That's what I
It's a lot.
Yeah.
On 38, you go 24 all the way down
To the end.
30.
Yeah. We're gonna you got it.
It's
24.
The whole thing, Mike. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 38 and verse 24. It says, the wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that have little business shall become wise.
Right.
How can he get wisdom?
You gotta read up a little bit, brother.
Huh?
You gotta read up a little bit.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 38 and verse 24. The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that have little business shall become wise.
Right, and although it's beautiful to have your job and your career at the end of the day to provide for your family chiefly, you don't want to get lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
You don't have too much dip on your chip, and now you're working overtime for Esau and not enough time for the Lord. Now, that balance is unjust, and the Lord's looking down upon you because you love Esau and you're serving him and money and mammon more than your creator. You continue.
It says, how can he get wisdom that holdeth the plow and that glorieth in the gold?
Because when we're at work, we try to meditate upon the precepts, but certain jobs, you got to think about what you're doing right now in the now.
That's real.
Especially if you're a doctor. You can't be a doctor, you got the gallbladder in your hand or whatever, and you're like, Deuteronomy 28.
Brain surgeon.
Yeah, all hell's going to break loose.
You're a brain surgeon, you thinking about precepts. Hey,
You
man.
kind of poke the wrong nerve and it just, fall out. You got it.
It says, and that glorieth in the gold that driveth oxen and is occupied in their labors and whose talk is a bullocks.
It's very toil. There's a lot of toil in it. Go ahead.
He giveth his hand to make furrows and is diligent to give the kind fodder.
That's what you give your mind to, right? Go ahead.
So every carpenter and workmaster that laboreth night and day, and they that cut and grave seals, and are diligent to make great variety, and give themselves to counterfeit imagery, and watch to finish a work.
Yeah, you have to watch to finish your work. And we all know that. We all been in work. We all been in certain duties where we just had to really think about what we were doing at that moment, or else we'll fall short and all hell break loose. Go ahead.
The smith also sitting by the anvil, and considering the ironwork, the vapor of the fire.
And this could be the blacksmith, coppersmith, silversmith, goldsmith. They're sitting at that anvil, as we seen in that video, considering the ironwork.
The vapor of the fire. So they gotta be cautious.
Literally. Hey, and you know what? Oh, it's like you got it. No. Wait.
Okay. It says, the vapor of the fire wasted his flesh.
It wasted his flesh. Kind of burnt his shit. You gotta keep doing that. Damn. You know, it sucks. That's like cooking and a little bit of grease pop on you.
This a man job right here, man.
Literally.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
It says, and he fighteth the heat of the furnace.
He gotta deal with it. He's not complaining.
It say he faint, you know, he's hungry. It say he's thirsty. We read that in Isaiah 44, right? It say he's almost fainting, right? Due to the flame, the fire, just the vehement heat of being in that environment. So
and he had that. He couldn't have layers on because if he did, and he's gonna faint immediately. So he had to wear short sleeve shirts. You see their apron, right? They were limited to their clothing because again, it would be too damn hot. So they had to just deal with the fiery vapor. Even the steam itself. You touch hot steam, you get 3rd-degree burns. Go ahead.
I'm not sure if they were match either.
No.
It says, the noise of the hammer and the anvil is ever in his ears.
Hey, if you had a hammer drill, some brothers kind of drill it, it's like a constant ringing. It can mess up your ears.
Yeah.
You know, that's why certain construction sites, they give you them earmuffs. Yep. Or they require that you bring them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It says, and his eyes look still upon the pattern of the thing that he maketh.
And you know what? There's a certain thing that you can have or get from too much loud noises. I think it started with a T. I can't remember. But you got it.
And real quick, you can you keep looking upon the same thing all day. You can get it can get tiring, right? You can get sleepy, right? You can kind of overlook certain things because you just staring at one thing all day. It gets repetitive, man. So that's a lot of mental strain as well.
It's like you remind me of my old job where I used to make car windows.
Yeah.
Paint.
Yeah.
I remember you told me about it.
That sound is in his ear. That's going into that dream about your job spirit, man.
The same thing.
And I had
truck driver, you dreaming you on the road.
Yeah.
Kind of all you hear is the anvil slam all day. That's all, man.
I had a dream I worked a full shift. It was ass. Sucked. Nobody wants to dream that. Just you dreaming about work all day. I have a little lunch break in my dream. So, you know, I looked it up. It's called tetanus or tetanus. When you have, it's a common cause is due to the damage in the inner ear, right? And that's the result of hearing too much noises in your ear, pretty much. Yeah, you jam up your eardrum.
Now they got to seek out the physicians, which is another occupation. So everything just goes hand in hand with each other, man.
It's chronic ringing in the ear. And hearing an anvil on a damn metal all day, your ears are finished. So you go ahead.
It causes depression.
It says, he setteth his mind to finish his work and watcheth to polish it perfectly. So doeth the potter sitting at his work and turning the wheel about with his feet, who is always carefully set at his work and maketh all his work by number.
And they offer ceramic classes in college, and you know you gotta be real diligent doing that. You can't mess up. If you mess up, nobody's gonna want to buy your pottery or your vases or whatever. Go ahead.
He fashioneth the clay with his arm and boweth down his strength before his feet. He applieth himself to lead over it, and he is diligent to make clean the fence.
They're not like this all day. They have their back crunched over, and they gotta just mold it perfectly. Go ahead.
It says, all these trust to their hands, and everyone is wise in his work.
And that's without a shadow of a doubt. They are wise in their work. Go ahead.
Without these, cannot a city be inhabited?
You wouldn't have Detroit without, these people that's in this occupation. Everything we're looking at, it more than likely came from one of the things we just mentioned, right? Even if it's from a factory, right? These factories, you had a man over and say he's going to be like this. This is a man that was excellent in fabricating certain metals and iron and things of that nature. Even electricians, Of course, they didn't have it back then, but nevertheless, it still applies to this day. You can't have a functioning city without these occupations.
So you needed the oil for the lighting.
Yeah.
They needed to beat the oil, right, and things of that nature. And I wanted to say that's why Esau took a lot of these trades and professions out of Jake high schools, man, right? Because they don't want you to know how to work with your hands. If you don't know how to work with your hands, what you gonna do, right? You'll just be a damn slave for the rest of your life, right? Or you won't have, no kind of skills to do anything and put food on your table. Now you gotta go rob somebody, you gotta go sell some drugs, because that's all you know. That's what Jake said, play basketball, rap, or sell drugs. That's what Jake is. He 3 things, man.
That's all.
Play basketball, rap, and sell drugs.
That's weird.
Not knowing that it's millions of professions out here that you can get into, but Jake was never taught these things, right? Because the so-called white man took it from him. More on that.
It says, without these cannot a city be inhabited, and they shall not dwell where they will, nor go up and down. They shall not be sought for in public council, nor sit high in the congregation.
I'm not going to a farmer to ask him a dark parable. He's the last person. A person that mops at McDonald's, I'm not going to them to break down certain verses. It's just not happening.
Real estate.
Not that there's nothing wrong with these jobs, but if you're too far into it and you're too deep into it, as we know most people are in the world, we're not going to them for certain counsel. It'll be not profitable. It'll be vain.
It says, nor sit high in the congregation. They shall not sit on the judge's seat, nor understand the sentence of judgment. They cannot declare justice and judgment, and they shall not be found where parables are spoken. But they will maintain the state of the world.
Right,
And all their desire is in the work of their craft.
Certain men are just, as they say, cogs in a machine. You're just a cog in a machine and you're helping this world run. That's all your purpose is. Yeah, I'm a firefighter. Yeah, you're just here just to, make the world run. Yeah, I'm a doctor. Look at me. So what? You was made on this earth just to fill up a spot. Your life is vain. Unless you worship the Lord in sincerity and truth.
And how much more Jake that don't got an occupation? You just sitting around.
Yeah, you're
That's
a
why
nigga.
it's worse than death. Because, what are you doing? You just taking up space.
You're an a-hole. You're just taking up space.
You worthless.
Because you're worthless.
Hey, a worm has more,
Yeah.
a worm has more worth than you.
Yeah.
At least a worm will move, they gotta eat. You're not doing nothing to eat. You're doing this.
That's crazy, bro.
Just give me some money.
Like a damn,
No animal does that.
They're like a damn seagull downtown.
Hey, even sloths work to eat.
That's a sad.
And they're known for their slow movement in their nature, but even they eat. They provide for their young.
They
A
swing on
sloth.
trees, right? And they get their food, man.
Yeah. But there you are just sitting in your grandmother's basement, your great grandmother's basement,
Eating chicken nuggets.
eating chicken nuggets
Chicken nuggets.
with carrots
With
and
sweet baby
spinach. And she keep telling you to eat some vegetables now, and you're just there.
Damn, grandma telling you dinner
He
already.
got a beard going.
Wait, she said, huh? She said, dinner ready, boy.
He got a onesie on.
Yeah,
Right?
you run upstairs.
Your grandma cut your hair.
He said, yay. He said, yay. Right? You got
Tell me that grandma cut your hair.
Put Vaseline on your face.
Cut your hair, my grandma.
You should put Vaseline on your lips.
Nah, they use Crisco
Yeah.
back then. Well,
Yeah.
no, put Crisco on your face.
She wiping the crust out your eyes.
Hey, you got some in your hair,
Do a
boy.
lick.
Kind of do the lick on the lip.
Yeah.
Smack in the butt.
Playing the game.
Alright, you got a precept?
I had
Oh, yeah, you got a precept.
No, I was just about to bring out a point of what y'all going into.
But bring it off.
Basically, when you watch Friday or next Friday, you got Craig asking for $200 in his mama house. They're not dealing with that. And then they always chilling on the porch.
His dad got him, man.
With a 40.
His dad said, the word of the day, J-O-B.
Right, so you guys gotta go get the
No,
shot.
ain't no dog catch him. Catch the dog. Look at him. Sprinkle him. Go.
That's all.
2 Chronicles 16 and start at 20. Yeah, that's off, man.
Damn dog catcher, man.
Hey, that's an occupation. He was at
Yeah.
Dana.
Yeah.
Asking everybody for 200.
That's wicked as hell, man.
That's that baby.
The book of 2 Chronicles chapter 16 and verse 12. And Asa in the 39th year of his reign was diseased in his feet.
Right, diseased in his feet, like gout, man. Yeah, that's a disease in the feet.
Elephant leg.
Right, elephant leg, right? keep reading.
until his disease was exceeding great. Yet in his disease he sought not to the Lord, but to the physicians.
Right, so you have physicians, man. That was a position, right? Right? You kind of go, look up elephant leg.
Look that up. You gotta get Jake the visual, man.
You said that second.
You also got
Right?
diabetes.
Not saying that's what he
16,
had, but
12.
these are different diseases that you
Oh,
guys.
they
You're not gonna
talking about
consult.
the disease.
You also got diabetes when you probably can get, cause you always standing on your feet. So your feet always actually hurting yourself.
That's
When you got diabetes, you get a wound on your feet and your feet don't heal. That wound just keep
What
opening.
is that? That's diabetes.
Nah, this-
I see Esau with that all the time. I be like, you got
So, are you gonna go talk to a carpenter if you disease in the feet, or are you gonna talk to a blacksmith?
you get a better picture.
He's not gonna tell you anything, man. You gotta go to the physician,
Okay, that's good.
right? The blacksmith. I got some iron for you.
Well, I got some iron for you.
I cut it off.
You know, just put your foot on it and make it feel better.
Damn. That's
You gonna
crazy.
kind of beat that shit, jam.
He grabbed that thing.
I mean, yeah, keep reading that.
I got a knife for you.
It says, and Asa slept with his fathers and died in the 41st year of his reign.
Right, keep
And
reading.
they buried him in his own sepulchres, which he had made for himself in the city of David, and laid him in the bed which was filled with sweet odors and diverse kinds of spices, prepared by the apothecaries' art.
Right, so you had apothecaries, man. They made spices and things like that. Different sweets smells. Right, so you got physicians and apothecaries. Right, this is all the different positions. Different occupations that we had.
The apothecary, they dealt with flowers, right? Different fruits, berries.
Physicians dealt with herbs and
That's in
stuff too.
Exodus. And when you look up what would be considered apothecary today, it's basically like being a chemist. You know how to mix stuff together.
Yeah. And Jake is an apothecary on the left hand side. He's mixing up crack, right? Cocaine, and he's making it jump out the pot. And he's putting it in a bag, and he's a apothecary on the left hand side.
Yeah, another precept.
I had a quick point.
Yeah, get your point. I got a precept.
You had messengers. They like modern day mailmen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you had messages too. That's in
Acts, the Romans the 16th chapter. You got Romans the 16th
He was
chapter.
a lad. You know, he was a messenger.
It's one in
That's the
Second
most-
Kings too.
Who got a precept?
First Samuel.
It's two of them. It's one in 2 Kings. They sent messengers to send stuff to them.
I got a precept real fast. Get Acts 18. Acts 18 and start at verse 2.
The book of Acts chapter 18 and verse 2. And found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy, with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them. And because he was of the same craft, he abode with them and wrought, for by the occupation they were tent makers.
Right, so they were tent makers, man. And so Paul was a tent maker. Right, that was Paul's occupation. Right, let's look up a tent maker in the Bible. Or a tent maker definition. I'll look it up in the Bible. Right, tent maker Bible meaning.
One that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just one who makes
Trying to
tents.
get too deep. There's one that makes sense, man. Google going on.
Yeah, Google going that low. Alright, yeah, so they made tents. Now, that is another occupation, like brother's saying,
Being a messenger.
Tanner as well.
yeah, being a messenger, a tanner. You even got, you have, we was putting people in ward, so I'm sure you had somebody over the ward,
CO.
right, like a CO. Right, that's numbers 20, 30, let's get it.
Yeah, singers.
There's just so many occupations.
Military.
I got another, with First Kings 4:1.
Yeah. Yeah, if you, off 20 and up. You ready?
Yeah, First Kings 4:1.
The book of 1 Kings chapter 4 and verse 1. So King Solomon was king over all Israel. And these were the princes which he had.
Right?
Azariah, the son of Zadok the priest,
Right, so you had the priest, right? The high priest, read.
and Ehoreth, and Ahiah, the sons of Shisha, scribes.
Okay, so you had scribes. And scribes is basically like a secretary, man. Right, that's literally what the my Bible says as a different definition, right? It says a secretary, right? I'm about to pull it. Let's get it in the blue letter,
Also known as recorders.
right?
Oh yeah, chroniclers too.
Right. First, so a scribe. Let's look at a scribe. A scribe, it just means to recount or to relate, right? So they basically took note of everything, right? Like it says, a scribe, a secretary, right? Keep reading.
It says, Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, the recorder.
Right, so you had the recorders, right? Because you got to think, in the ancient world, a lot of these events and stuff would get recorded. Like you said, like a news reporter.
Like a news report.
They keep track of everything, right? And here it is. You know, it's just to recall or whatever the case may be.
What they call a journalist.
Yeah, they was basically journalists. They recorded everything that was going on. That's why when you read that's why when you read in Kings, it says you can read the rest of it in a book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah. That's different recorders writing that stuff down. All right, but keep reading. And that.
It say, and Benaiah, the son of Jehodiah, was over the host, and Zadok and Abiathar.
It's like over the host. He was a captain of the army, right? So he had army captains, right? Keep reading.
And Abiathar were the priests, and Azariah, the son of Nathan, was over the officers.
So you had men over the officers.
And Zabud, the son of Nathan, was principal officer,
right?
And the king's friend.
Keep reading.
And Ahishar was over the household.
Right, he was over the household, right? Over the king's household, read.
And Adinaram, the son of Abidah, was over the tribute.
Right, so you had a chief man over the tribute, right? Because you had, we had different nations in subjection. You know, Ammon, Moab, these different nations was paying tribute, so he had a man over that. Because Solomon was one man; he couldn't do everything on his own, so he had different positions, and these are high positions, right? That all these men had. That's why I said these are the princes, right? This is a high position that all these men had, right? So, with that, I yield.
God, give me Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 18. Right, because you had judges in the ancient world, detectives, right?
Cut it on.
You got spies as well.
Spies. Get Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 18. Brothers got precept, they can bring it out.
This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 19.
Right?
And the judges shall make diligent inquisition.
Meaning the judges shall do detective work. Right? Investigation. Look up detective, brother. Right? What is a detective?
A judge is occupation nowadays.
Yeah, judge is occupation. That's a job. You gotta make that judgment. You gotta have detectives. Right? Because again, it was murder going on in the ancient world. It was thievery. It was all kind of criminal activity going on. So you needed judges set up, and they had to do detective work to determine what was the truth and what was not.
Just pinning on information right there.
It's a person, especially a police officer, whose occupation is to investigate and solve crimes. A private detective, private investigator, operative. What's the most synonyms?
Inquiry agent.
Right, inquiry agent. So they had the diligent inquisition. Or they had to make that inquiry about the matter. Keep reading, brother.
It says, and behold, if the witness be a false witness and have testified against his brother, then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brothers.
And that's what detectives try to find when they try to solve crime. They try to find witnesses, man. Right? They need them witnesses. Without no witness, you ain't really got no case like that, man. Now, you might have forensics and things of that nature, but if it was none of that on the scene, you needed that witness. You understand? Keep reading.
It says, so shalt thou put the evil away from among you.
Right? Now, give me Numbers chapter 35, and I believe it's 16.
Yeah, long shirts too.
Book of Numbers chapter 35, verse 16. Reads. It says, and if he smite him with an instrument of iron.
If he smite him with an instrument of iron, right, that could be a sword, that could be a spear, a lancet. Read on.
It says, so that he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death.
Right.
And if he smite him with throwing a stone wherewith he may die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. Or if he smite him with a hand weapon of wood, wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death.
Right?
That
So like you got unsolved crimes as well. Brothers know that precept, they can bring it out. Give me
It's like a number.
Where
go to
they can bring it out, they make an oath and say I ain't do
Yeah, they got to do that second.
it. Yeah.
got it.
That's Deuteronomy 21.
You brought that count to the valley, you kind of smoked it.
Yeah, bring that out.
Deuteronomy 21 and 1 or numbers.
Just start at verse 1, Deuteronomy 21 and 1.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 1 reads, If one be found slain in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it, lying in the field, and it be not known who has slain him.
Right, because those things happen, man. You find your brother jammed up in the field with his brain slit open, man. Right, blood everywhere. You know, it's blood on the corn. Right, everything just is nasty.
Yeah.
Right, right. They even have men that come clean up these different crime scenes too.
Yes,
Right.
Yeah, like that movie. I like that movie.
Saying that, yeah, man. They got a I forget the name of it, the cleanup man or something like that.
That's why I was certain laws in place for dealing with that body.
It's more technical than a janitor because you got to deal with blood and
It's a coroner.
right a coroner.
No,
Right.
that's-
What is it?
What are you talking about?
It's a name
a
for
little
it,
different.
man.
Don't ain't the forensic people. They don't clean the bodies. The same.
Nah, they gotta leave
They-
bodies,
they-
man, so they can
Corner
examine
deal with
it.
dead bodies.
They clean this guy cleaned it up after everything has been examined and you know things of that nature. He can't just come in and just clean it up because there might be some evidence that he cleaning up.
That's nasty.
Yeah, take pictures.
It's a name for it. Crime scene cleaner. So that's what it is, a crime scene cleaner. So you had crime scene cleaners, right? But keep reading.
It say, then thy elders and thy judges shall come forth, and they shall measure unto the cities which are round about him that is slain. And it shall
Read
be,
that again, verse 2.
verse 2, then thy elders and thy judges shall come forth.
Hey, the elders and the judges shall come forth, the detectives. They got to see what's going on now. Somebody slain in the land. This is a nasty sight. Yeah, children getting slayed in the ancient world. Yeah. Just imagine that. The judges and the elders, they had a tough job because they got to see kids put to death. Right? They got to see people hung up on damn trees, all hell breaking loose. They had to see all this wickedness in the land. So them detectives, they got a tough stomach. Right? Keep reading.
It says, and they shall measure unto the cities which are round about him that is slain.
They got to measure these different cities, right? See what's going on. You got it.
And it shall be that the city which is next unto the slain man, even the elders of that city, shall take a heifer which have not been wrought and which have not drawn in the yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring down the heifer unto a rough valley, which is neither ear nor stone, and shall strike off the heifer's neck there in the valley.
Right, you got to strike off their neck. You got it.
And the priests, the sons of Levi, shall come near, for them the Lord thy God hath chosen to minister unto him and to bless the name of the Lord, and by their word shall every controversy and every stroke be tried.
You got it.
And all the elders of that city which
Now,
are
right, you go, keep reading.
and all the elders of that city that are next unto the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer that is beheaded in the valley. And they shall answer and say, our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen.
Keep reading.
Be merciful, O Lord, unto the people Israel, whom thou hast redeemed, and lay not innocent blood unto thy people of Israel's charge, and the blood shall be forgiven.
Right, so some cases go unsolved, man. Right?
Cold case.
It's a cold case. But the Levites had to get up in that thing because the Levites, they was in touch with the spirit, man. Right? They kind of knew certain things. Right? Through the Urim and the Thummim. Right? They get certain revelations. Right? So the Lord can reveal to the Levites who put to death this man. They might can see it in the vision, right? And things of that nature because they was in touch with the spirit. Right? So, you know, that's where it get a little deep at, man. All right? You gotta ask yourself, how did Esau be finding, you know, these fugitives that be on the run? What is he dealing with? What kind of spirits is he dealing with, man? Right? Kind of seek out a witch doctor. Where is he? Where is he? Right? And then they kind of find that man in Mexico. Right? That stuff be happening, man. The fugitives, they be getting jammed up. Yeah, because the Esau go get a damn witch doctor.
Be getting that plastic surgery and everything.
So like,
Yeah.
Some of them people.
didn't you tell me something how Saul was finding King David?
You try to use the Urim and the Thummim, or you try to use the ephod, one of the
Oh,
ephod.
he's seeking a familiar spirit, a witch.
That was with Samuel, but that was different. When he trying to track down David, I believe he used either the ephod or the Urim and the Thummim. Yeah, one of the two. That's I think it was Urim and Thummim. I think it was Urim and Thummim. Yeah, he was using something, man, because he kept finding David, man. Yeah. So he was dealing with some witchcraft. That's like a GPS, man. He was finding David everywhere he went.
Tracker.
We will walk to a cave. I think David in this cave. What the hell?
They got a preset for you walking.
I got one after you.
This Isaiah 3 and verse 2. The mighty man and the man of war, the judge and the prophet and the prudent and the ancient, the captain of 50 and the honorable man and the counselor and the cunning artificer and the eloquent orator.
So we had all those type of people in the ancient world.
That's mighty, man.
You had the counselors, cunning artificers. You looked that up.
An eloquent
Artificer. That's like an architect.
Well, we pulled the precept in Genesis 4:22. His sons was an artificer, I think. They just make stuff.
Yeah.
They kind of fabricated.
A skilled work, it says skilled craftsman or inventor. And what was the other one? Orator?
An eloquent orator.
You kind of speak for the public.
That's kind of like what's that one dude? Everybody
Public speaker.
They
like
call
a
him
lecturer.
something, too.
Yeah, actor.
Freeman. What's his name?
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. He's an orator.
That's mighty, man.
You have orators in Rome.
Yeah. You got orators. You know, they got to make them speech. A speech maker.
Aaron was an orator for Israel.
Yeah.
All right, quick. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 2 and verse 2. And Joshua, the son of Nun, sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into a harlot's house named Rahab and lodged there. They had spies in the ancient world too. Jake, the original 007, you understand?
See that? I got two more. So they say you got ancient laundrymen in the scriptures.
That's a full.
Innkeep. Oh, you did have innkeepers. You got innkeepers.
The host.
Oh yeah. Your house. I say.
We had inns, so people had to keep like the hotel people.
Yeah, gatekeeper, man.
Kind of check you in.
Yeah.
And you had,
Keep at the gate.
oh, you had porters.
Yeah.
That's what they're called. They had to watch over the gate. Hey, who are you?
Watchmen.
Hey, so David set that up. Can you bring out
So you actually had watchmen.
Sabbath 29 and 18?
All that mighty, man.
Nothing new in this son.
Nah.
Book of Sirach, chapter 29, verse 18. Sure this ship have undone many of good estate.
Right. What's suretyship? You gotta Google that one. That's a. We can't use Google because it's so ancient of a word. Google give you like a wonky answer. Yeah, I guess it's kind of decent, but it's 1611. That's where it's coming from.
You look up the short to shit.
Yeah, it's. I did a KJV Bible Dictionary suretyship. And it's pretty much a loan shark for the words. But you got loan sharks on the right hand side. It just got a negative connotation today. It sounds nasty and negative. You got the movie Lucky Number 11. If brother saw it, Slevin, yeah, his father got jammed up from loan sharks. So it says the estate from being surety, the obligation of a person to answer for another and make good any debts or loss which may occur from another's delinquency. So this brother's on a hard time. Hey, brother, can I borrow like 1,000 shekels? I'll pay you back by the end of the year. If the end of the year come, and you ain't got my shekels,
You gotta answer for it.
hey, you gonna get jammed up.
That's a nasty business.
If I can have a surety, I can have somebody else on my behalf. That's what it sounds like. That's why it says for another's person delinquency.
Yeah.
It's like a clean debt.
It's like somebody that clean your credit, man.
Yeah, clean your credit. That's
Credit, the people that clean your credit.
Eve got jammed up for that.
But if you don't pay them back, and like I said, it hath undone many of good estate and shaken men as a wave of the sea. Because your credibility, your name, you're finished.
Yeah.
mighty men had been driven from their houses. So they had to go on a run. So that they wandered among strange nations because they couldn't pay the money.
You among Moab now.
Yeah,
you
you
gotta
just a
live among the
stranger.
Moabites.
I want to pay it back.
Be in Jerusalem.
One thing led to another. I'm
Israel.
sorry. So I got one more.
Many more occupations that we can't even get into it so much.
So much.
One last one. Real quick. Go to Malachi 3:2. This is a laundryman, so-called.
A fuller.
A fuller. You know? And yeah, everything, man.
It said no fuller could white it. It's a precept to say that.
That's in Malachi like 3 and 1.
3 and 2. You can start verse 1.
The book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 1. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And the Lord whom ye seek shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith the Lord of hosts. But who may abide the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire and like fuller's soap.
And like Fuller's what?
Fuller's soap.
So they had soap. You had to wash your clothes. You need garments done and washed. I got you. I know how to do it the best I anybody. You know, you need. You couldn't use anything. Hey, maybe you need some hyssop. Maybe you need some nitri. Maybe you need some
The
other
cleaners.
certain
That's
things.
what they call them. Cleaners.
Yeah, they're cleaners. The ancient word cleaners.
So they call it
It's another one. Get Isaiah 7 and 30.
Book of Isaiah,
Oh, yeah, the massive feast.
chapter 7 and verse 3. We Isaiah 7 and 3. It says, Then said the Lord unto Isaiah, Go forth now to meet Ahaz, thou, and Shilishab, thy son, at the end of the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field.
See that? So that highway at the Fuller's Field, man. Probably a place full of fullers, man. Like you said, the laundry, man.
They tell you in Sirach 32
Scientists.
that you had to master the feast. Maybe I didn't know how to host a feast, but I want him to do it. And they call them event planners today.
Yeah.
Party planners, a host,
Yeah, party
and
planners,
they get
hosts.
paid.
They get paid good money,
Those
man.
event coordinators, and you know how to do it. Hey, you do it, and then you set it all up and make it look beautiful, and then you get paid.
You had you also had wise men. Real quick, you had wise men, right? Which were what you call modern day scientists, right? So you had scientists in the ancient world as well, man.
Genius.
Look up scientists.
I got a
Right.
precept on that,
God.
real quick.
Yep.
Our people so mighty, man.
You had sea navigators too.
Oh, you had astronomers.
Yeah, like you said, we had sea navigators. Solomon had a navy,
That's what I
man.
wanted to bring out too, the astronomers. They say a person
That's crazy.
who is studying or has expert knowledge of one or more of the natural or physical sciences. Right? So an astronomer is a scientist, man. Right? Because they got to look up at the constellations, the stars, and they kind of got to read it. That's scientism.
Right.
You had a point, brother?
Yeah,
Right
it's
up.
Daniel chapters 1 and verse 4.
Kind of.
Book of Daniel, chapter 1 and verse 4. Weeds. Daniel 1 and verse 4. Weeds. It says, Children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all
They
wisdom,
say these men were skillful in all wisdom. You got it.
and cunning in knowledge,
And cunning in knowledge. Read on.
and understanding science.
And what?
Understanding science.
And understanding science. Read
And
on.
such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans.
Keep reading.
And they appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat,
So they ate good. Read on.
and of the wine which he drank,
The finest wines. Read on.
so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof that they might stand before the king.
Keep reading.
Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
Right? Hey, the children of Judah, man. Of Yahweh, man. These men were cunning in knowledge. Right?
Science.
So Daniel, he was a wise man. Hey, Daniel was prudent in matters as well, man.
You got that
Right?
science.
Those men was trying to put to death Susanna. Hey, Daniel kind of stepped up in there, man. And made diligent inquisition about the matter.
He said, hold on, what's going on?
Got that position.
I got
Sirach
that
38,
one.
position.
Mighty,
Same
man.
book, this the latter end of what happened to, Daniel, Hananiah, and the other brothers. Right, so this Daniel chapters, I believe it's chapters 2 and verses 47. Or 48. Yeah, Daniel 2 and 48.
The book Daniel 2 and verse 48. Then the king made Daniel a great man and gave him many great gifts and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon and chief of the governors over all wise men of Babylon.
See that? So Daniel was the chief wise man, man, and ruler in Babylon.
Well, Daniel 1 and 20. Get Daniel chapter 1 and verse 20.
Book of Daniel chapter 1 and verse 20. And in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all his realms.
See that? So he was better than those magicians and those astrologers. Same thing with Joseph. Get that in Genesis chapter 41 and verse 39. So our forefathers wasn't a monkey swinging in the jungle in Africa eating bananas butt naked, man, in the jungle looking for damn lions to fight. That's Ham. Ham does that. That's not Israel. Right? So we were men of understanding. This is beautiful, man. Are they gonna teach you about this during Black History Month? Are they gonna teach you about Rosa Parks, how she didn't get up?
She said no.
She said no. They're gonna teach you about George Carver and peanut butter. Right?
He found like 500 things to do with peanuts.
This is folly.
Madam C.J. Walker.
Madam C.J. Walker, Thurgood, whatever, man.
I'm not gonna say shit about her.
Right?
Frederick Douglass.
Get First Chronicles.
Frederick Douglass was an Edomite.
Yeah, he was
Might
an
have
Edomite.
said.
See that?
No, he had his.
Oh yeah.
We read that.
Okay, give me First Chronicles 12 and 32.
Oh wait. Somebody said Genesis. I don't know.
What you said?
You-
Oh yeah,
you-
Genesis
you-
41 and
you-
39. Sure. Sure, all these, Genesis
This the-
41 and 39.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 41 and verse 38. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this is? A man in whom the spirit of Yahweh is. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as Yahweh have shewed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art.
This is in Egypt. This is for all you Egyptology guys. Egypt, brother. Kemet, brother. Kemet, brother. Well, hold on. Joseph had more knowledge than those of Egypt. Same thing with Solomon. We read 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 30. That's right. The vizier. Right? Break it up.
Verse 40. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled.
That's deep, right?
Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt.
Right, and Joseph had more knowledge than Pharaoh, man. Right, but due to political reason, he can't set him over Egypt because he's not an Egyptian. Right, he's an Israelite. You got it.
And Pharaoh took off his wing from his hand
He took off that ring. Read on.
and put it on Joseph's
And he
hand,
put it on Joseph's hand. Read on.
and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck.
Right, so knowledge pays, man. Right, knowledge definitely pays. And
right.
give me I believe it's Psalms 105 and 20.
Not to put things far apart. I say that as the Lord giving us that crown and then giving us that right robe. We beneath him. He above us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he still got love for us.
Yeah.
Verse Lomo, verse 43. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried before him, bow the knee, and he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt.
I got a quick
There's more on that.
We gonna ride.
You got charioteers, people that draw chariots.
Get
Taxes.
Psalms.
Them taxes.
Salaki, get Psalms chapter 105 verse 20.
That's a fact too.
Psalms 105 and 20.
Can't get around.
The book of Psalm, chapter 105, you said verse 20?
Con.
Book of Psalm, chapter 105, verse 20, reads, it says, the king sent and loosed him, even the ruler of the people, and let him go free. He made him lord of his house and ruler over all his substance, to bind his princes at his pleasure, and teach his senators wisdom.
Teaches what?
Teach his senators wisdom.
So Joseph taught the senators of Egypt wisdom, right? He taught them math, science, irrigation. He taught these different senators these different things because he had wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And also give 1 Kings chapter 4 verse 30.
1 Kings.
So, you know, us being the chosen people, it ain't just about football and basketball. It's knowledge and wisdom as well, man.
Them athletes.
Yeah, we ain't just athletes. Yeah, Jake know how to do a lot of things, man. 1 Kings 4:30.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 4 and verse 30. And Solomon's wisdom excelled the wisdom of all the children of the East Country.
Of all the children of the East Country, meaning everybody at the time, everybody in that world. You got it?
And all the wisdom of Egypt.
And what?
And all the wisdom of Egypt.
And all the wisdom of Egypt. Solomon had way more wisdom in Egypt, right?
For he was wiser than all men.
He was what?
Wiser than all men.
That's deep right there. He was wiser than all men. That's mighty right there, man. Everybody coming up to him asking him questions, seeking out counsel, how to do this, how to do that. Hey, man, Solomon had it all, man. That's right. Solomon was king. Keep reading.
It says, then Ethan, the Ezrahite, and Heman, and Kakor, and Dada, the sons of Mahol, and his fame was in all nations round about.
Real quick, read that, because those are different men who had wisdom during the time that was up there as well. But Solomon had more knowledge than them. Right? So these men that was just named, they had a lot of wisdom as well, but Solomon was over those men.
Solomon knew how to earth and everything.
Yeah, get that wisdom of Solomon 7:17.
God. It said, and he spake 3,000 proverbs.
3,000 proverbs. We only have, what, 31 chapters of proverbs? Right, so we ain't even got the half of it, man. You got it.
It say, and his songs were 1,005.
Oh, we got, what, 151 chapters, right, of Psalms, I believe?
That's Solomon's song. We got one song of Solomon.
Yeah, we got one song. Yeah, you got one song of Solomon.
8 chapters.
You know, 8 chapters.
He had 1,000 songs. He was like the top artist. Jake ain't doing 1,000 songs.
Nah.
It say, and he spake of trees from the cedar tree that is in Lebanon, even unto the hyssop that springeth out of the wall.
He knew about trees, man. Yeah, only tree Jake know about is arborist. What trees do Jake know about? Apple tree. The apple tree.
Only time they mention trees is on my weed.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the only tree Jake know. Marijuana, man. I'm gonna ask you, Jake, brother, you know about the tree? Yeah, bro, I know about the tree. He gonna put out a blunt. So Solomon knew about the trees. Keep reading.
It says,
you can talk to Solomon all day, man. He's gonna teach you something that you just never heard. He's gonna keep going on and on and on and on. Right? And he never gonna stop, man. And they admired that wisdom. You had Queen Sheba that came all the way to hear Solomon's wisdom, man.
It say, and he spake of trees from the cedar tree that is in Lebanon, even unto the hyssop that springeth out of the wall. He spake also of beasts and of fowl and of creeping things and of fishes. And there came of all people to hear the wisdom of Solomon from all the kings of the earth, which had heard of his wisdom.
Right? They had to pay to hear that wisdom, man. They had to get Solomon that money, man.
Yeah, she gave him all kind of spices.
Yeah, you think he was just giving out free game to these nations, man? No, man.
Yeah, man.
They had to pay that bread, man.
Yeah.
Right? Getting that I had one more wisdom, Solomon 7:17. You think he just sitting there? Yeah, I'm gonna give everybody free wisdom, free knowledge going out to all the nations. No,
and he said in Proverbs, let it spring out, but let it be to your own.
Mm-hmm.
He said that in Proverbs. And Wisdom of Solomon, he said that in the 7th chapter.
And he couldn't tell these nations everything because they'd use it against them, man. When you got knowledge like that, you can't tell everything. You know, you got to hold some things back because, your enemies will use that against you. That's right. Bring it out.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 17. It says, for he hath given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely, to know how the world was made.
You know how the world was made. Read on.
And the operation of the elements.
The operation of the elements. Fire, right?
Air,
earth, water, earth. All these different operations. He know how the construct of these things work.
Even the elemental too.
It says the beginning, ending, and midst of the times.
The beginning, ending, and midst of the time. So Solomon knew about Jacob's trouble. Right? Solomon knew about the nuclear missiles. Solomon knew about these different things.
Right.
I wanted to say Solomon ain't need he don't need a watch.
You don't need Google.
He was on a high level, man.
He is Google.
He was on a high level. Man in the ancient world, other than the prophets, they didn't know about, you know, the prophets didn't even know what these things were. They tried to describe it the best way they could.
Right.
But Solomon knew about it. Right? So it was kind of scary standing next to Solomon. He telling you some stuff that you can't fathom.
Said Solomon, get up, walk outside, look at the sky. Oh, it's about 5:30.
Yeah,
5:35. You know.
It say the alterations of the turning of the sun and the change of seasons.
Scientists.
The circuits of years and the positions of the stars. The natures of living creatures.
Brothers don't know the position of the stars, man. No, the brothers in here don't know those things,
You
man.
really can see them, man.
Yeah, brother, you kind of squinting. That a chariot or a star? Right? You don't know what's going on.
You probably do the names of it. You
Yeah.
got the names.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
did.
And we
Orion's belt.
Orion's belt, Pleiades.
the month,
That's Job. The night
astrology
chapter.
sign. That's all
We
I
know
take
on the
note.
deeper level who we reading about.
Yeah.
Who know all these things? Only one man who created all things. So we know on a deeper level who we reading about.
Yeah.
It says the natures of living creatures and the furies of wild beasts, the violence of winds and the reasonings of men.
He knew the reasonings of men. Psychology. Right? The psychology, man. If you know the reason of a man, you could do some stuff, man. If you a psychologist, you can, not saying Solomon was doing, you can manipulate a lot of things, man. Well, Solomon started, going off, so God knows what he was into.
The police, they gotta study psychology.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They gotta study, you gotta just study man. Right? If you study man, if you knew psychology, you can control the whole room, man. And make everybody bow to you. And they don't even know why they're doing it. They just doing it. Right?
People like Adolf Hitler, man.
Yeah.
He knew psychology.
Yeah.
It says, and the reasonings of men, the diversities of plants, and the virtues of roots, and all such things as are either secret or manifest, them I know.
Them I know.
We know everything.
Them might know.
And real quick, it's 2 Chronicles 12 and 32.
He knew everything.
First Chronicles 12 and 32. First Chronicles.
Book of 1 Chronicles chapter 12 and verse 32. And the children of Issachar.
And the children of Issachar, man. Right? Northern Kingdom. Right? The so-called Mexicans of today. The Issacharites. Read on.
And the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times to know what Israel ought to do. The heads of them were 200, and all their brethren were at their command.
Real quick, look up astronomer, brother. Real quick. Let's look up an astronomer. Because these men, they could look up to the heavens, the stars, and the constellations, and determine the times. Alright? And average Jake can't do that, man.
At all.
Average Jake don't even look up at the sky, man. Right? They looking at that blunt.
Expert of it.
They on their phone all day.
Got every star name, and you know the difference from them.
Yeah, that's mighty.
How the hell?
Astronomer, an expert and student of astronomy. Just look up astronomy, what that means. Okay, which is, study of stars, but let's get it. Yup, the branch of science which deal with celestial objects, space, and the physical universe as a whole. Right, so this ain't no earthly thing, man. Right, this is heavenly things that he's getting into. Right, celestial objects. Look up that word celestial, brother. Right?
Solomon was a zoologist.
Man, it was everything.
For real.
These occupations too.
Scholars,
Real quick, it say, he was a jack of all trades. It say, position in or relating to the sky or outer space as observed in astronomy, heavenly, astronomical, extraterrestrial, stellar, planetary, which is just the constellations. The planet represents the constellations, right? The stars and things of that nature. So he knew about these different things. Right, and then, Solomon started going off, right? It don't go in depth and detail about what he was getting into, but we know it was folly, man.
He said I said to know what folly.
May have been astrology, so-called zodiac, right? It's just that it may have been these things, we don't know, but I'm led to believe it was a lot of those things, man.
That's what I was about to say.
Witchcraft, sorcery,
That's what I was about to say, because you got the left hand, you got the right hand side. Astrology can be used to navigate, to show you certain things. Then you got the left hand side where they use it to worship the suns and the moon and stuff like that. So that's the reason why we can bring this out in the righteous way. Where Solomon knew it, what he was using it for. You know what I'm saying?
Right, Con. Last one. Bring out First Maccabees 4:23.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 23. Reads. First Maccabees 4:23. Then Judas returned to spoil the tents, where they got much gold and silver and blue silk and purple of the sea.
And purple of what?
Purple of the sea.
That's purple of the sea, right? When you look into it, you know, time will fail us, but when you look into the purple of the sea, that's certain shellfish. Because you can't just find purple really in nature and make it a liquid and kind of diet. You have to get it from the sea. It's from shellfish. And
so you had deep divers, what they call scuba divers, that dealt with the ocean and things of that nature.
Yeah, they went into the ocean. They had to find these shellfish, and they had to, you know, make the blood and use the shells itself to get that certain dye. And then you had to go through a process. You had to ferment it. You know, I did a cool cut on it maybe like 2 years ago on how fringes were made, how the purple was made. Even Zidon, they on the coast, they knew how to make the purple. That's why they was so rich. You read about it in Ezekiel 27.
And you got pens too. They use pens in the ancient world that consist of ink, right? And what you get, where do you get ink from, man? Right? What animal is that again? Squids, right? You get it from a squid, so they had to get the ink from these different animals, man. You know, that's where ink comes from. Yeah, he just brought it out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you get ink from, what is that? A squid.
Squids do ink.
Yeah, they got ink. That's what he's
That's
saying.
natural. Now you
They
go
do
to
that.
hell again.
Yeah, they get the ink from that. That's crazy. You know, yeah.
Where you see that?
There's a lot of damn ink.
Squids are big.
That's why they gotta go deep into the ocean. The squids are not animals where they just be on the top of the surface. Squids are deep in the water.
They make it like man-made. I think they probably did that in the ancient world. I think they make it man-made now.
Yeah, it's probably chapped up now.
Yeah, they talking about mixture of solvents and fatty acids.
And if you deep that, understand that squids are not on the top surface of the ocean. So they can't just go into the water and just grab the squid out of it. They gotta go deep into the water.
So they get the ink from the squid.
Oh no, they do use it.
Yeah.
I ain't know they look at scorpion. See that?
They said that.
So hey man, they gotta get that ink. So
I think Israel.
what's some ink companies, man? The pens that make pens. Big pen company.
Papermint, right?
Big paper made big paper.
Right, big. Right. They got some scuba divers in that thing, man.
But brother, you still wanted to say some occupations for Israel?
Oh, basically just like some different hustles and stuff.
Yeah. We put it on YouTube.
We'll read this real quick. It also occurs in, it say the main component in squid ink is melanin, which is the pigment responsible for the ink's dark color. It also occurs in humans and determines your skin color. Humans have used squid ink for centuries, including in traditional medicine, writing, art, cosmetics, and as a food additive.
That's that food dye, man.
Yeah, that's that dye. Right.
Let's let them
Yeah, God.
wrap up.
I feel like I'm doing the PowerPoint at school or something. But yeah, I just wanted to bring out some ideas and stuff. Like basically you got, different hustles out here. I'm standing behind this light. Should I probably go up here? I don't know, man. But I just wanted to bring out the fact that, you can literally start like any hustle. Like you can go into the ways of, opening up vending machines. You got clothing lines. You got a lot of stuff, right? If you got cars, you can open up Turo accounts, things of that nature. It's a lot of hustles out here. So just
Airbnb.
Yeah, Airbnb.
Yeah, you could actually rent out your car, man.
Yeah.
Right? You could rent out your car. That's what it's called.
Turo.
Yeah, Toro. Yeah, you got.
I say you can open up a total company, get a tow truck.
Yes. You can open up a landscaping business, right? A snow plowing business, right? Especially for brothers in Michigan, man.
You got Forex, you got all kind of stuff.
What's the water thing that they clean? The
You got
water
Power wash.
a lot of stuff.
A Bible.
They got hair in the street. They got barbers in the street.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, you trim his beard. The razor sparkle.
It's easy to start a clothing line, you know, and also you got drop shipping, right? You literally can go on TikTok and look up TikTok made me buy it, but then they'll show you like certain ideas like damn mics or something like that, or you know what's those things called, speakers for showers and stuff like that. Then next thing you know, you take that damn product and you go on like AliExpress or Alibaba, you look up that product, they're reselling it. They selling that product for like $3, and you can take that product, open up a website, sell that same product, you know, for like $40. So you're making a whole
I
profit.
was just talking about
You can buy a wholesale.
Yeah.
You can buy like tables and chairs from thrift stores. You can sand it down, repaint it. You know what I'm saying? You know, make it to your liking, and you can resell it.
That's something else you could do. You could buy shoes, purses, your rib, you can bedazzle it up and sell it to E.
You also got that Amazon. Like
do a lot.
It's like this thing with Amazon, basically reselling on there.
Hey, brothers do
Yeah,
shoes.
you buy a bulk and sell to Amazon. Some of it.
Basically, it's like you sell it on Amazon.
Yeah, I know.
People buy it and then you just ship it out.
Yeah.
Paintings too.
Right.
That's right.
Honestly,
Hebrew paintings and stuff like that.
like the brothers do.
Yeah,
I was saying, but you can do a daycare too, man.
Yeah.
Daycare.
That's something you can actually do.
Hebrew daycare.
Yeah.
Right, so if y'all ever wanted to like get into like reselling, y'all can go on AliExpress, you know, Alibaba. If y'all want to resell scarves, you can find wholesale vendors, right, and open up a website in Israel.
That's crazy. You said it's called Ali.com?
AliExpress.
AliExpress. That's crazy.
Yeah, you can literally find, you know, tripods. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, they're wholesale. I already know how wholesale works. You buy a bulk. Much cheaper price.
Good side hustle.
Oh yeah, we live. Just for Israel here.
Yeah, that's a good side hustle. Right, and they don't teach us, you know, everybody know that, you know, in the school system, they don't teach us about credit. Right, so, you know, if y'all credit bad, you know, look up tradelines.com, get a trade line, that'll up y'all credit score. Get that good credit score, then next thing you know, go get a business loan. Next thing you know, open up some businesses and flip that money and just pay your credit off.
Something else you can do is you can actually, brother was telling me this, you can actually sell your credit. Like if you got good credit, you can be the person selling somebody credit and building their credit up.
That's right. And that's when you know you got your own businesses, you can do the work whenever you want.
Hey, so like the brothers got dogs in here.
I got a little.
Yeah, you can breed dogs, man. They make sure you don't mix them, but you can breed dogs. And they make good money too. And you in Michigan too, man. A lot of Edomites that love dogs. They'll pay that top dollar for a dog.
$40 an egg.
I know brother at my job, he breed them.
And dogs go quick too, man. You know, that's America's favorite pet.
So all praise to the Lord.
Man's
We can wrap up on
Hey,
that.
with that, we're going to bid Israel Shalom. Abba Ratzah, Israel's been edified through the spirit and power behind by Shemel Shai.
Kwam Yashalom.